Yo ho and welcome back to the Wild. I'm still expecting to be hit with depression any second now, so that's just not even fucking faff about and just get into it. Also, accidentally just immediately went to the next line by clicking there. A month has passed since I was reunited with Yume. At this point, I'm visiting Yume every day of the week. When she has to get her temperature taken or blood drawn, I always wait outside in the hallway with anxiety swirling in my chest. When she's gone from her room due to examinations, I feel similarly anxious while waiting for her to return. Those times Yume always asks me this.
私がいない間、ちゃんとおとなしくしてた？お行儀よく椅子に座ってた？
You act like I'm 10 or something. Both back then and now she'd often treated me this way. Thinking of herself as the big sister, me as the little brother. Though she is older than me, so I have no right to complain about that.
で、どうだったの？
I waited quietly.
本当に？
How would you not believe me?
ベッドの下とか漁ってたら嫌だなって。
Are you hiding something
う
there?
ん。
Like
エッ
what?
チな本。女の子の口から言わせないでよね。もう。
You really have those?
嘘に決まってるよ。
Yume giggles and returns to her bed. I can only heave a sigh. Well, those kinds of exchanges aren't too bad in and of themselves, so I won't say anything. Actually, to be honest, I love them. I love visiting Yume. I love talking with her about all sorts of things. I love being with her and keeping her company.
ようくん、今日でお見舞い何回目かな？
It's been a month since we've met, so I guess around 30.
毎日来てるよね。
Yeah.
大変じゃない？
Nah, not at all.
本当かな？
Honest to God, a way to probably get her to finally spill the beans. Just say something like, "Oh, I told him I'd come back with I told him I would to take part in club more often again if I find the lookout girl from back then." Or something like that. It's true, I swear. Please don't prohibit me from visiting you.
ようくん、もう妖精さんをしのぐペースになってるよ。
How often does that friend
3
come?
日に1度くらいだよ。
Seems kind of strange that I haven't met this person yet when you think
い
about
つ
it.
もようくんが帰った後だからね。
Usually head home in the afternoon when the sun starts to go down. Visiting hours end here at 9 p.m., so I suppose your studying sessions run from evening until then. What are you studying at the
宇
moment?
宙について。
Man, so all you ever do is study
う
astronomy?
ん。妖精さん、昔は天文部に入ってたみたいで、得意科目みたいだよ。
Okay, that's sudden. Nah, it wouldn't make sense. Do you want to be an astronomer,
考
Yume?
えたことなかったけど、なれるならなってもいいかな。
Well, you'll need to study other subjects besides just astronomy if you want to.
天文学者にならなくていいや。
Jeez, that was quick.
妖精さんから聞いたんだけど、ようくん知ってる？
When Yume talks about astronomy stuff, she sometimes starts to act like she's a teacher. In those times, Yume always seems to be so full of joy. I get the sense that she truly enjoys teaching me about the stars. At the same time, I also feel a sort of haste and impatience spurring her on to teach me while she still can. And that makes me feel uneasy at times.
天文学者や宇宙物理学者はね、たった一つの数式で宇宙の神秘を表そうとしてるんだって。でも数式を発見しても宇宙技術が発達するとすぐに矛盾が生じちゃう。だから日々研究を続けてるんだって。宇宙ってすっごく広いのに、数千億あると言われている銀河の一つが私たちの天の川銀河で、天の川銀河にある2000億の星の一つが私たちの太陽で、その太陽の周囲を回る惑星の一つが私たちの地球。そしてそんな地球に住む私と陽くんは66億人のうちの2人でしかない。 そんなちっぽけな私たち。だけど宇宙を語ろうとする私たち。それって何か身の程知らずにも思えるけど、私たちは宇宙で暮らしているのと同じなんだから、我が家がどんなところか知るくらい別に悪いことじゃないよね。
Exactly. Though honestly, I feel like it'd be a good idea to first learn about the Earth before getting to the whole
そう
universe.
かな。
If we're thinking of the universe as our home that makes Earth our own room, we still don't fully understand a lot of things about the Earth's interior.
そうなの？
I once read in a book that we still haven't been able to identify the rocks that compose the innermost layers. Somehow she is
ヨークに
displeased.
教えられた。
It's not anything new, right? I used to teach you all stuff all the time back in the
だ
past.
から嫌だったのにな。
I admitted that we played together in the past.
認めないよ。認めない。
Well, you've already given yourself away a few times
上
though.
がってないよ。上がってない。
I just want you to know I'll never get you. I just want you to know I'll never forget you again, Yume. After all, sometimes there are things I notice for the first time when you say them. It's one of those moments. See now, I love her. It isn't as though it is some big revelation or anything, but I couldn't say so with confidence before. And it isn't like I have absolute confidence now either. Still don't know whether my feelings towards her in the past were strong enough to call her my first love. That honestly aren't the words I was inadvertently about to say, feelings my heart had tried to convey, proof of everything. I want to confess to her. Regardless of what doing so leads to, I believe it will mark the end of a chapter. The chapter of me visiting her alone, spending time with her alone, that is. I'll confess to her, ask her out, and then bring my friends here. I'll introduce Yume to all of them, and all of them to Yume. I've kept them waiting until now so that I could sort my feelings out properly. So it's time to man up now. Can't allow myself to indulge any
私
longer.
のことが何？
Stand up. I'll come again tomorrow.
話の途中だったよ。
I'll pick up where I left off tomorrow.
話しづらいことだったの？
It's just something that requires a little bit of courage. Something more difficult than unraveling the mysteries of our universe.
ヨウくん、
Yuma stares at me intently.
変な話だったらお見舞い禁止にするからね。
Got it, I reply. I don't know how it will turn out. After all, regardless of how vast the universe is, there is no single man that knows what the future holds. He'll be here shortly. Since he always shows up come night, she has become intuitively able to approximate the time he'll arrive. Magpie on our lap, Mayor is waiting for his appearance while stroking his head and throat.
ヨウくん、
We immediately get a CG for this part. Lovely. Whoops. At times like these, there's only one thing Mayor can think about him and Yume. Although she doesn't know how, you'll remember Yume's name. He regained the memory Mayor reaped from him for sure. Not only that, but apparently has even reunited with her. Yume appears to be hospitalized and Yo is going to visit her every day. She can easily infer that much from different bits of what he said as they converse here at the lookout while gazing at the starry
これ
sky.
でよかったのかな。
Mayor has a promise with Yume. That promise is why she reaped Yo's nightmare. Yet now Yo is seeing her. Yo is staying at Yume's side. He's actively striving to be with her. Mayor can't help but wonder whether the situation is going against her promise with Yume. Since Mayor values her promises with others more than anything else, she's particularly concerned about that.
またやるしかないのかな。ヨウくんから悪夢を狩るしかないのかな。
In truth, Mayor doesn't like reaping nightmares. It turns into a painful experience for her every time. Her chest constricts and her heart starts to ache, before ultimately she cries, just as if the nightmare has switched over and decided to torment her. She weeps for the person. It isn't by any means a feeling that lasts for long, but more along the lines of a temporary flash of emotion. Regardless, though, she doesn't want that pain for herself. She doesn't want to cry, which is why Mare doesn't want to reap Yo's nightmare. Those of those are her honest thoughts.
それにヨウくんも辛そうにするから彼女のこと忘れると悲しむから。
Mayor pets the head of Magpie. She continues to stroke his head as if she is tending to someone's wound.
わからない。私どうしたらどうすれば。そうですね。あ、君はまず隠れるべきだと思います。今のままでは不用心ですから。
In reaction to the voice, she suddenly hears Mayor, who had been lost in thought, raise
い
their
くら
head.
ここが立ち入り禁止でも、そんな風に姿を晒すのは感心しません。ぼんやりしているなんて考えられません。この地はまだ安全ではありません。以前のように隠れているべきです。せめてヨウさんが来るまでは姿を隠していることをお勧めします。誰？
As Mayor gets up, Magpie also gets moving, flaps his wings and takes off. It begins to circle above the heads of Mayor and the other person as it's swimming through the starry
一
sky.
応、はじめましてではありません。
An all too familiar small girl is standing right in
オ
front of
ル
her.
ゴールをポカポカ殴られた恨みは覚えています。私、あなたなんか知らないわ。そうですか。
Mayor tightly grips her scythe. She still remembers vividly the Shrine Maiden girl who attacked her back in summer, and also how badly Yol was hurt as a result of that incident. Recalling that makes her feel queasy. Not in regards to herself having been exposed to danger, but rather in regards to herself having been protected by Yol. That queasy feeling might actually be her heart racing, but since it doesn't change the fact that it makes her chest tighten up, Mayor thinks of it as the
本
same.
当に私を知らないんですか？この姿を見てもわからないと言うんですか？あなたみたいな子供知らないわ。子供ではありません。子供にしか見えないんだけど。君よりも大人です。私の方が大人よ。クスクス。ちゃんちゃらおかしい。腹立つんだけど。君は目覚めてから7年ぽっちしか経っていませんから。20年以上経っている私の方がずっとお姉さんですから。あなた何なの？君と同類のものです。あなたなんかこの試練、ギリシャ神話ではタナトスと名を変えて伝えられる天津三日星の宝具を見ても、何言ってるのかさっぱりだわ。君も持っているじゃないですか。これは死神の鎌よ。クスクス。ちゃんちゃらおかしい。腹立つんだけど。
Magpie descends. He lands on Mayor's head and rests his wings. Mayor flying around has made him tired.
君はまだ何も思い出せていないんですね。思い出していたら、私だけじゃない。その子がなぜ生まれたのか、その正体も思い当たるでしょうに。カー君のこと？名前は知りませんが、その幻獣のことです。カー君は私のしもべよ。クスクス。ちゃんちゃらおかしい。腹立つんだけど。しょうがありませんね。君はまだまだ子供ですから。私はあなたよりお姉さんよ。違います。私の方がお姉さんです。私です。私よ。君、負けず嫌いですね。それはそっちだと思うんだけど。いいですよ。子供に何言われたって言いたくありませんよ。負けず嫌いのセリフなんだけど。いずれ後悔させてあげますか。負け惜しみのセリフなんだけど。今夜はひとまず退散します。また会う機会もあるでしょう。結局何しに来たの？いけない巫女を見かけたので、びっくりさせて追い払ったんです。君を守ってあげたんですよ。子供に守られるほど落ちぶれてないんだけど。失礼です。ムカムカです。バカバカの間違いじゃないの？君なんかヨウさんに 頭を撫でられていればいいんです。そこで赤くなるんですね。なってない。クスクス。ちゃんちゃらおかしい。いい加減我慢の限界なんだけど。それでは、連れが待っていますので。
The little girl leaves. She leaves the lookout while carrying a scythe very similar to Mayor's. Ericus is chasing after her and stabbing her with hers, but she doesn't want to miss Yor because of that, so she decides not to. Magpie spreads out his wings and takes off again.
なんなのこの気持ち。
She's waiting for Yule, eagerly awaiting him. Mayor wonders whether that means she misses him. She imagines herself having her head stroked by Yule. It causes her chest to tighten up. Her heart aches. Strange feelings begin to course through her. She feels like crying tears of a different kind. If she told all this to Yule, she reckoned he would only say it was love. That Mayor also leaves. She can't stand to be around Yule the way she is now. Magpie himself spews fire instead of words and disappears into the starlight, following his master. No way to be seen. Spent about 30 minutes looking for Mare, but haven't found her yet. It's strange. She's been playing any games. She hasn't been playing any games of hide and seek like she used to. Did she get all pumped up and hide herself real good since it's been so long? Maybe she just straight up decided not to come tonight. Kinda sucks. I had something to tell her too. Namely, that I plan to confess to Yume tomorrow. In doing so, I'll be able to sort out my feelings towards her. I'll be able to bring closure to my memories, just like Asu did with me. Time has come for me to resolve myself as well. Can't slack now. Afterwards, I want to introduce my friends to her. Of course, I mean to invite Mayor too. I want her and Yume to stand in front of each other. When that time comes, maybe I'll finally be able to get answers. The reason Mayor has been waiting for me at this lookout is the reason why she wreaked my nightmare. The reason she tried to steal away my memories of Yume. Make sure I get a proper reason out of her. There's something that's been on my mind this whole time, but I've never asked her. Because once I'm absolutely convinced it is my place to ask, Mayor will tell me of her own accord. The only question is, will I find that conviction? I reckon after confessing to Yume, I'll have quiet and necessary courage. I'll have a quietly resolve to seek out the truth. I try searching for her for another 30 minutes, but in the end, I'm not able to find Mayor.
やっほー、待ってたわ。
その格好でそんな軽い挨拶はいいのか？
晴天宮について話があるって聞いたから面倒だけど清掃にしただけよ。こっちは晩酌してたってのに。
急だったのは悪かったよ。
久しぶりね、レン。三島先生と一緒に元気してた？
おかげさまで。おもりは大変ですけど。
誰が誰のおもりなんだか？
私が大河君のおもりに決まっています。
相変わらずみたいで安心したわ。
レンは夜にしか姿を出さないし、そっちは気軽に会えないからな。
宗一郎とシノも会いたがってると思うわよ。
そうですか。宗一郎君はいいですけど。
シノには会いづらいの？
気にするなとは言ってるんだがな。
先生が言ってもしょうがないでしょ。一番気にしてるのは先生なんだから。
手厳しいな。
レン、機会があったらシノと会ってあげて。
そうは思えませんけど。
挨拶はこのくらいにしてだ。本題があるんだが。
晴天宮についてってことはレンに関してね。
そうとも言える。
別にレンを晴天宮に売ろうなんて考えてないわよ。昔からそれは変わってないわ。当時の私は晴天宮の巫女であるより先に天文部が好きだったし、神主となった今でも部員は仲間だと思っている。そこには 先生も蓮も含まれてるのよ。
わかってるさ。実際蓮を討伐にやってくる巫女なんてこれまで一度も見かけなかった。
これまで？
ああ、これまではな。
正確には私が目的ではないようですが、そのものは展望台を伺っていましたから。
聖天宮の巫女に会ったの？
蓮が展望台で見つけたそうだ。
その時は姿を見られないように足音を立てて追い払いましたけど。
聖天宮が生業とする末路あぬ者の討伐。鎮悪人は一般人に目撃されたくない類の仕事だからね。蓮の判断は。
状況を聞くに、その巫女は展望台の死神を狙っているかもしれないんだ。
展望台の死神は刹那からも報告を受けてるけど、それって蓮のことでしょ？私は蓮のことを聖天宮に報告していない。昔もだから、その事件は私の預かり知らぬものよ。
待った。お前勘違いしてるぞ。
何がよ？
展望台の死神は蓮じゃない。メアって名前の少女だ。
誰それ？
ちなみさんから聞いた話では、テンクルで一緒に天体観測をしている宇宙人だそうです。私も実際に会ってみましたが、とてもムカムカな子供でした。
蓮と同類って考えるのが妥当だろうな。
私は宇宙人ではありませんが、そう考えます。
展望台の死神というのはメアって少女のことで、その正体は精神だって言いたいの？
私も大河君もそう考えています。
じゃあ何？このひばりが崎にはいつの間にやら3人もの星神様が集っているってわけ？
蓮にメアにお前の娘の小雨で3人だな。
蓮のよりしろは先生の隕石、小雨のよりしろはひばりが崎隕石。じゃあ展望台の死神のよりしろは？
俺たちの知らない隕石がまだこの地にあるってことだろうな。
なんて土地の神主になったのよ、私は。
その悲運に対しては同情してやるさ。
善良な私たちを勝手に厄介者扱いする聖天宮には同情しませんが。
私によってのはその嫌味のことかしら。
展望台の死神を打ちたがってる巫女について聞きに来ただけだ。蓮にも被害が及ぶとも限らないからな。
私は大学に守ってもらわなくても何も問題ありませんけど。
そう言うな。ほら。
頭撫でないでください。
私は展望台の死神を蓮だと考えていた。刹那から報告を受けても捨ておけと命じている。だからその巫女については私も知らないわ。
だがどう考えても聖天宮の巫女だぞ。
おそらく刹那と同じで総本社の巫女でしょうね。だから刹那が私にそう向いて展望台の死神のことを総本社に連絡したか、あるいは他の目的で巫女が派遣されてきたか。
私や展望台の死神を討伐する他に心当たりでもあるんですか？
一つだけあるわね。
なんだ？
うちの娘の小雨よ。
あ。
小雨はね、聖天宮でも問題になってるのよ。精神の力を借りた精霊なんて例はこれまでになかったから。それでも今までは生還を決め込んでいた。小雨の扱いは私に一任してたのよ。私が小雨を送り返すために刹那の派遣を依頼してからもその態度は変わらなかった。だけどここに来て気が変わったのかもね。そうなったのもうなずけるわ。刹那は仕事を降りてしまったから小雨を送り返すことができなかったから。
確かに理屈は通るな。
総本社の巫女でも繰り返せない末路わぬものでしたら、 危険視するのも無理はないかもしれません。
小雨はそのくらい荒ぶってるとか思われたのかもね。その逆だってのに、連中は頭が固いから。私に通達なく巫女を送り込んできたのも問答無用ってことなんでしょうね。
諏訪は態度はでかいが根は真面目な生徒だ。彼女は今そっちでどうしている？
晴天宮に処分を請うとか言ってたけど、ここにとどまらせてるわ。帰ったらもう戻ってこれないでしょうし、本当に小雨が狙われてるんなら今後もとどめておこうかしらね。もともとボディーガードをお願いするつもりだったし。
そのあたりは俺が口出す領分じゃないが、助けが必要な時は言ってくれ。
荒ごとには先生より蓮の方が役立ちそうだけどね。
ご希望でしたら、いけない巫女を鎌でざっくり刺してあげます。
相手の祭ろわぬものを繰り返しても撃退にはならなそうだけどな。
塚でポカポカ叩いてあげます。
その時はよろしく頼むわ。
できれば荒ごとにならないよう、その巫女にお帰り願いたいところなんだがな。
派遣された巫女が誰なのかまだわからないし、今は何とも言えないわね。
それでは、ひとまず用事は終わりでしょうか。
とりあえずは警戒を怠るなってところか。
こっちのゴタゴタだから、なるべく迷惑かけないようにはするわ。
そうしてくれと言いたいが、協力できるところはするさ。なんだかんだでお前は可愛い教え子だからな。
この年にもなってそんなこと言われるとくすぐったいわね。
夜分遅くに悪かったな、前か。
帰るの？晩酌くらい付き合いなさいよ。
私は、お酒は苦手です。
神様のくせにだらしないわね。
失礼です。ムカムカです。
今更だけど、不思議な存在よね。あんたって。
晴天宮の神主が本当に今更だな。
私はもともと現実主義者なのよ。娘の子桃だってそうだしね。
それでも神社を継いだんだな。
摩訶不思議大冒険は大好きなのよね。
矛盾してるし、そのうち罰が当たるぞ。
蓮は自分のことって説明できないのよね。
はい。この星に伝えられる神話から大まかには知ることができましたが、君たち人間が自分の生態を完全に説明できないことと同義です。
先生は蓮のことどれだけ理解してるの？
そうだな。俺たち人間が物を見るには光がいるのは知ってるよな。
まあ暗闇じゃ何も見えないからね。それに私たち晴天宮は捕物の光を借りて祀ろわぬ神を目視することもあるし。
じゃあ最たる闇である宇宙の観測には電磁波を利用してるのは知ってるか？電波天文学や重力波天文学の分野なんだが。
そんなの知らないわよ。
俺たちが何かを見る、何かを知覚するには光をはじめとする電磁波が必要なんだ。だが現代の宇宙観測はな、電磁波の全波長域を使っているわけじゃない。理由は簡単だ。使いたくても使えないからだ。俺たちは電磁波の全貌を知らない。まだ研究途中の領域が残されているんだよ。だから宇宙には未だ多くの謎が残されている。それは蓮にも当てはまる。俺たちに蓮が見えたり見えなかったりするのはそういうことだ。科学に限界があるように、俺たちの視覚にも限界がある。宇宙を観測するのに限界があるように、蓮を知覚するにも限界がある。そもそも蓮をまともに知覚するための光は三次元情報だけでは足りないからな。
待って、もっとわかりやすく説明して。
いいか？要するに蓮は俺たちよりも高次元の存在なんだ。次元というのは解釈は多様だが、簡単に言えば物理量の座標のことだ。次元の差というのは座標軸の違いのことだ。とすると、それは物理法則の種別と呼べる。蓮は俺たちと違い、三次元の物理法則には縛られない。低次元の存在は高次元に干渉できないが、高次元の存在は低次元に干渉できるからだ。例えば 二次方程式を知っていれば一次方程式は解ける。だが、一次方程式を知っているだけでは二次方程式を解くことはできない。それと同じことなんだよ。
やっぱり意味不明。何その SF。
普通に現代物理学の範疇だ。
学者ってのはこれだから嫌いよ。
別に俺は物理学者じゃないがな。数学教師だ。
私から見たら同じようなものよ。引きこもって一生自己満足な空論さえずってなさい。
相変わらずクラッシャーだな。足だけじゃなく口も。
You should have just made some said something like, just because you can boil water doesn't mean you can. Just because you can boil water doesn't mean you can make soup. But if you can make soup, it naturally follows that you can boil water. Unless you're some weirdo who, like, makes cold soup. Which, why would you? Stupid. It's also an egg genie in a way. Anyways.
大河君の言う電磁波というのはよくわかりませんけど、宇宙にはたくさんのエネルギーが満ちています。大河君の持つ隕石にもそれが満ちているんだと思います。
そうだな。電波や可視光線、赤外線、紫外線、X 線、ガンマ線といった様々な波長。宇宙ではそれらを含む高エネルギーの宇宙船が絶えず飛び交っている。その中には俺たちの知らない光も含まれている。そんな宇宙を長い時間旅した隕石がそれらを乗せて地球へと落ちてくるとしたら、俺たちはこいつのおかげで蓮を知覚できている。俺たちはこの隕石の持つ宇宙船によって影響を受けている。普通じゃ見えない存在を見ることができている。この隕石に宿っていた蓮が、隕石が放つ未知の光によって俺たちの前に映し出されているんだよ。ま、オカルトじゃなく科学的見地に立った俺の主張だ。
まるでプラネタリウムね。
星の投影機ってやつさ。
なのに見るだけじゃなくて触ることもできるなんて、ほんとレンって不思議ね。
頭撫でないでください。
私たちが触れるだけじゃなくてレンが私たちを触ることもできるんだものね。
未知の光が俺たちの視覚に限らず他の五感、果ては万物の全てに影響を与えている証拠だろうな。
聖天宮の見地に立った私はレンを祀ろわぬ神として鎮める役目を負ってしまうけど、だけど天文部の部員としてなら大切な仲間だからね。どんなに不可解だろうが不思議だろうが、あんたは私の友達よ。
いい感じに照れてるな。
照れてません。
久しぶりにみんなで天体観測でもやりたくなったわね。あの頃の天文部を全員集めることは難しいけど、千尋のやつはもういないけど、だけど私たちには見えないだけでどこかにいるのかもしれないから、私たちと一緒にひばりが崎の星空を見上げてくれるかもしれないからね。
My brain hurt. Ugh. Today's the day I've readied myself to do this. Yeah, it's lovely and all, but I'm still trying to, like, completely process what the fuck we just learned. Well, I assume the mysterious shrine maiden that they saw was Asuka's sister again. I'll just put that out there. Anyways, today is the day I've ready myself to do this. I'm going to confess to Yume today. For that purpose, I wait for visiting hours to start and head to the hospital. I'm a lot earlier than I usually am on the weekdays. While making my way over to Westwood where Yume's hospital room is, I consider how to go about confessing. I've been racking my brains out about that constantly since last night, but my thoughts just keep spinning in circles without me ever arriving at a conclusion. Thanks to that, even though I'm prepared to do this, I have nothing that even amounts to a plan. As well as timing at which to confess depends on the flow of the conversation, and can't exactly be planned either. My entire body's tense, but not restless. Que sera, what happens will happen. I'm positive there's no right set of words to confess with, so the most important thing is to whether I can actually muster the courage to come out with it. It'll be a far greater problem than anything else. If I just get cold feet as I'm about to do it and end up unable to say a thing. Can I really do this? Am I prepared to accept whatever results await me? I arrive at Yume's room. I'll tell her the words now that I couldn't all those years back. His wife kept cherishing my memories of Yume all this time without ever forgetting them. To my surprise, the room turns out to be completely empty. All attention escapes my body. The bed is empty. Yume is nowhere to be seen. She must be out doing an examination. I've already encountered this several times while visiting her. I just need to sit quietly and wait for her to get back. Go ahead and sit myself on a chair near the bed. I direct my gaze out the window. Yume often stands by this window and gazes out to sea, staring at the waves as they continuously break onto the beach, only to recede again. I always find her doing that when coming here. Maybe after I leave, she goes back to doing that until her tutor arrives. The waves breaking and receding, an endless repetition. Daily cycle, never ending. It seems like she feels a sense of envy when she looks out at that sight. I avert my eyes from the window and face forward. The white pillow and bed sheets are brand new. Must be freshly cleaned, is my guess. Can't spot a single wrinkle. I decided to change them while Yume was out getting her examination. She said her examinations don't take long, yet for whatever reason she's still gone. Maybe it's just taking them longer than usual today. That would explain why they had the time to change the pillows and sheets at the very least. Yeah, no, this isn't her room anymore. Come to think of it, I wonder how often they wash the sheets of the hospital beds. Every day, once per week. Yume often complains to me about her life in the hospital. She undoubtedly spends the vast majority of her time in this room. I imagine that a lot of that time is spent in her bed. When do they find the time to wash them? Having a hard time comprehending this. Well, I'd say they definitely do it when a patient gets discharged from the hospital. And if the patient has passed on, I assume they would also put clean sheets on the bed. If the patient has passed... Stand up. Do so with quite a lot of force and jolts with a loud clatter, then turn towards the door. A compelling urge to leave the room and search for Yume comes over me. Basically, at the exact same time...
Yo-kun!
Yume enters the room.
今日もお見舞い来たんだね。タイミング悪いな。結構待ったんじゃない？
Yume walks over to me. He just straight up hugs
シ
her
ー
or
ツを
something.
変えてもらってたから、検査が終わった後もロビーで暇つぶしてたんだけど。
She's looking at me from close proximity. Like as kids, we used to be about the same height, but now there's more of a difference. I've grown up enough to be able to keep her safe. Have I grown up enough to be able to keep her safe? As I reach out, my arms slowly encompass her, and so I embrace her. She catches her breath inside my arms. Her shoulders are slender and her body delicate. Her very life in my arms feels so very minuscule to me, I can't take it.
どうして痛いよ。
Come back to my senses. Sorry. I immediately move away from her and apologize. Yume stares downwards without answering. Her ears, where they're peeking out from under her hair, are bright red. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I apologize one more time. Yume finally raises her face.
びっくりしたな。もう
She then gives me an embarrassed
血
smile.
圧上がっちゃった よ。体がすごく熱っぽいよ。今検査受けたら面会謝絶になっちゃうかもね。
Yume, this is the perfect moment.
ようくん、
Yume thumps my forehead. My eyes dart around aimlessly.
何の意地悪か知らないけど、もう二度としないでね。
Yume draws close
いい？
sharply.
今のは忘れてあげるから。いい？
Well, though honestly, it isn't something I want her to forget.
返事は？
Look,
お姉さんの言うことが聞けないの？
just listen to what I...
口答えするとお見舞い禁止にするよ。
Okay, fine, I won't do it again. No other option but to
よろ
consent.
しい。
Yume smiles cheerfully and then says,
新しいシーツ一番乗り。
she gets into bed in high spirits. Since no one except her is using that bed, her being first doesn't really mean anything. But what is more, I wasn't able to confess to her. As a wave of exhaustion washes over me, I sit down in the same chair again.
それじゃあ今日も天文談義に花を咲かせよっか。
It isn't like I wouldn't enjoy that, but if I let her keep her control of the conversation, there's 100% a given that this will end up as just one of my normal regular visits. Hey, Yume. I attempt to forcibly change direction.
何？
How about we talk about something else first?
違う話って？
Well, I mean, just talking about astronomy all the time gets boring after a while, don't you think?
そんなことないけど。
There are other things you'd like to talk about,
ない
right?
けど。
Seriously?
ないよ。
That is actually quite shocking. But look, there's gotta be something, right?
ようくんはあるの？
Let's see. I dig around for a topic from which I could naturally transition to confessing to her. How about romance, dating, stuff like that?
君はようくんじゃない。
I don't really get why, but my existence meets
私
denial.
の知ってるようくんが恋バナなんてするはずない。
Why is
ようく
that?
んは恋に疎いでしょ？
I'll just assume
違
that.
うの？
Maybe I used to be in the past, sure.
今は違うの？
Well, maybe I am.
じゃあ恋バナはゴミ箱にっぽいだね。
My suggested topic gets trashed.
そうなるとあとは天文談義しかないよね。
Who was your first love, Yume?
ゴミ箱にっぽい。
Another trashing. What type of guy do you like? Have you ever had a boyfriend? Are you single right now? I imagine the imaginary trash bin is rapidly filling.
やっぱり天文談義しか思いつかないな。
For heaven's sake, hold on.
ようくん、幸せって何だと思う？
And suddenly this philosophy. It sure came out of left field.
違う話したいって言ったのようくんじゃない。で、どうなの？
At least the way I see it, happiness is different for each person, so I don't think there's any one answer to your
そんな
question.
ことないよ。答えはあるよ。
Which is?
幸せっていうのはしつこく相手に分かってもらうまで迫ることだよ。
What?
しつこく相手に分かってもらうまで迫ることだよ。
Bad joke. Turns out it was a trick question.
ようくん、普通って何だと思う？
This is another trick question. Nodding off regularly amid all lectures.
何その階段。
Nodding off regularly amid all lectures.
つまらない冗談を真面目に解説すると寒いよね。
It is just cruel. So what's the answer then?
波の火を通ることだよ。
How do you get that from
普
normal?
通って漢字を分解するとそうなるの。だからね、私は
Yume's impish smile changes over to a gentle one.
ようくんが波の火を通ることをしつこく分かってもらうまで迫りたいんだよ。分かった？
Not at
そ
all.
っか。ようくんにはちょっと難しかったかな。
Yeah, you can say that again. Some difficult to agree with, so I just don't want to understand it. If you take what she's saying at face value, that means Yume wishes for me to have a normal life, meaning she wants me to return to my normal everyday life. She doesn't want me to visit her anymore. Maybe her thinking is that this is for my best interest, for my happiness. Yume, I just can't keep myself from asking. What is your happiness, if you don't mind me asking? Yume's life consists of the hospital. There's no doubt that this has been the case for quite a long time. There's no doubt she's been hospitalized for a long-term period because of some serious illness. The fact of the matter is, she wears pajamas all day. Can't spot any sort of other normal clothes in her hospital room. It's clear that Yume hasn't bought any clothes for a very long time. She doesn't wear makeup, and her nails are short too. Her hair is just sort of cut, however. Yume doesn't possess the kind of things you would expect someone like her to have. She doesn't have those things that you would expect any girl her age to have. She's been robbed of all that by her disease. The normal she wishes for me to have is something she doesn't have. Something she is simply unable to have.
私の幸せか。
Yume wants me to stop visiting her.
すぐには思いつかないかな。
Yume wants me to go our separate ways. Wants us to go our separate ways. She wants to put distance between us. But in a sense that seems to contradict her words. She said she enjoys having me come visit her. So I honestly believed that she was telling the truth when she said that. Even if it is something she feels she has to do, she doesn't want to let me go. Clean that out hope, I say. Love you, Yume. Yume blinks in surprise. Her long eyelashes tremble. Don't you remember the promise we made 7 years ago? That we'd get married after getting reunited. Don't you remember us exchanging that promise? I never forgot. My feelings never changed. It's a long, long time since then, but they never faded. Higuboshi no Yume have always kept shining brightly inside of me, which is why I'll say it again. I love you, Yume. Please go with me. Please become my girlfriend.
ダメだよ。
Her answer is rejected.
私、ヨウくんとは付き合えない。ヨウくんの恋人にはなれない。
Clear-cut rejection at
だっ
that.
てヨウくん、その恋は子供の幻想なんだもの。過去のヨウくんが見ている夢、悪夢、色あせた思い出なんだもの。
They haven't told, not at all. I still continue to fight. This isn't an illusion at all. It's not some silly child's dream. I won't let you just shrug my honest feelings off like that. I'm not a kid anymore, Yume. I've grown up and matured.
成長してないよ。成長してない。ヨウくんは昔とちっとも変わってないよ。ヨウくんはまだ優等生になれてないよ。惜しいところまで行ってるのに、あともうちょっとってところだと思うのに。なのに、私に告白するなんて、全然ダメ。赤点だよ。
Does that mean you've rejected me?
そうだよ。
The reply of hers is only all too placid.
君は私の友達。大切な友達。今だから言うけど、私の初めての友達だったんだよ。
It was the same for me. Yume was my very first friend, which is precisely why these feelings came to me. That is how I am able to look at it. But it is different for her.
君は私の友達。私はそう思ってる。だけど、君がそうじゃないのなら、お見舞い、禁止にする。君が友達とは違う関係を望んだから、恋人の関係を望んだから、だからもうここには来ないでお願い。
I couldn't stay any longer. Couldn't bear being with her for any longer. I stopped on my way out of the room and then said to her without looking in her direction, I have friends. Thanks to them, I was able to fit in here in Ibarigasaki, the town I'd been away from for so long. They told me they wanted to meet you. I won't come anymore. But could they at least?
いいよ。
Hearing these words, I was finally able to turn around to her at the end. Thank you.
それは私のセリフだよ。
Her face is radiating a warm
ひば
smile.
りが崎に戻ってきて、私は一人の時間が多かった。それはとても退屈で苦痛だった。すごく不安だったんだよ。だけどヨウくんのおかげでそんな不安はなくなった。ヨウくんのお見舞いが私を助けてくれた。友達まで紹介するって言ってくれた。だからありがとう。君はやっぱり私の一番の友達だよ。
Just a mere friend. Truth be told, maybe I should have just settled with just that. While I wasn't really sure or not, she was whether or not she was my first love, I could say that with certainty that if she hadn't been, I wouldn't be able to fall in love at all. This love I had kept safe and protected for many years has shattered. Today I leave the hospital with a broken heart. After eating dinner at home, I make for the lookout. On the way, I think back upon my past self. To me, from my childhood, that Yume said was her first friend. Yume and I played together at the lookout during early summer for around a period of 1 month. Our first encounter reached further back. I remember, well, it isn't that I've forgotten or anything. The memories of that remain vivid and clear inside me. It's just that I was so much of a child back then when I met Yume for the first time. It's embarrassing to even recall. It wasn't as bad after I'd gotten close to Yume. Anyhow, our first encounter happened in spring when the cherry blossoms were in full bloom. That time I had no friends. I didn't care for companionship and felt no need to have friends. I was the kind of boy I was in elementary. I would always go home straight after classes were over. Paid absolutely no mind to invitations of classmates to hang out together. Coldly turned them down, even those that came back to try persistently. That was the exact same way I treated also our class rep at the time. I would always interact with her in an unfriendly manner. As for why I was this way, I could only attribute it to the fact that I had some greater importance back then. My family was more important to me than friends. There was actually a proper reason why I never made any friends. My mom had her hands full with work, and I wanted to help her out as much as I could. Supporting 2 young children as a single mother was no small task, to say the least. Seeing as it wasn't just about the only thing I could do, I at least wanted to give her a hand with the housework. I was the one who had the ability to get home earlier, so I would get things ready to cook for dinner. I would also do cleaning and the laundry if it seemed necessary. Once Chinami was home from school, I would devote my attention to her. If she had homework to do, I would help her with it. My choice to help out with housework instead of having fun with friends paid off. Mom had less of a load on her shoulders. And above all, seeing her son do this for her filled her with joy. Since I was done with all the chores, once I was done with all the chores, if there was still time until she got home, I would also do my homework. Thanks to that, my grades were always high. Whenever I got a perfect score on the tests, she would always tell me how proud of me she was. There were nothing but merits, so naturally I never once considered changing that lifestyle. I thought that I was happy enough with the life I had. It was amidst that kind of daily cycle that I met Yume. One day I was hurrying my way home as usual with the spring breeze on my back. Found a girl all by herself, standing near the school gate. She was looking at the school building. She, just a tiny young girl, was gazing up at the large towering school building. No one else was around. As the afternoon came around, students would usually stay for a while to talk with friends and whatnot. For that reason, it was desolate outside of the school building around this time. She and I were the only two. All around us, petals fell from above like snow, dancing in the wind.
お別れ、学校とのお別れ。
She was holding out both her palms. She caught the cherry blossoms in her hands, almost as if she were confirming it was snowing. The petals gently fell into her tiny palms, then fell off down to the ground. Sad at the time, almost became a crossed like T's to me.
最後にお別れを言いに来たかったの。
School's cherry blossom trees were in full bloom. Their petals were raining down in heaps. It was the last third of April, as the cherry blossoms bloom later in northern towns. Coincidentally, it also marked the beginning of a new school year. Because of that, I had also just moved up a grade. I didn't remember feeling any particularly deep emotions about it at the time. It just happened. That was that. It
君
just
は
happened, and that was
学
that.
校好き？
At that point, the falling petals weren't only showering her palm, but her whole body. Not really.
学校嫌い？
I already hated it either.
そう。
Without even brushing off the petals that were piling up on her hair and shoulders, she went
君
on.
は学校に関心がないんだね。
She proclaimed as if a light bulb moment had just struck her. It was like she unnaturally used a word like apathetic that you'd never expect to come from a child's mouth. She came off to me as trying to act more mature than she was. It was a complete mystery to me why I didn't just ignore her and walk home. Why I exchanged words with some girl I didn't
君
even know.
この学校の生徒だよね。
Yeah,
何年生？
fourth. Answering her questions one after another. If I had to give her a reason of it was probably because her figure covered in those petals was exceedingly beautiful. I couldn't step away because I was just captivated.
名前は？
Pressing space just immediately like jumps to the next one without fucking question. On your business. Your tone got bristly.
私はね、おとつゆめっていうの。君が4年生なら、年は君よりお姉さんだよ。
Girl I deemed likely to be a student of school turned out to be apparently in a higher grade
名
than me.
前、なんていうの？
None of your business.
桜って好き？
None of your business.
私のこと邪魔だって思う？
I'm telling you what I think is none of your business.
そう。君は私にも関心がないんだね。
I wasn't quite sure. I just couldn't wipe away the feeling that this was different. If I had been truly apathetic about her, I would have had long since walked past
す
her.
ごい量の桜だよね、ここ。花びらが雪みたいに降り積もって。 吹雪みたいに舞い散って、もう鬱陶しいくらいで。
I wondered why she didn't leave it if she thought so. She could simply just go back inside school and go
だから
home.
君は桜も私のことも鬱陶しいと思うのかもしれないね。
Same option of going back inside the school building or going home also existed for me, but neither of us moved. We continued to talk to one another as cherry blossoms showered us. Do you like the cherry
好
blossoms?
きだよ。咲き始める桜は好きだよ。だけど散ってしまう桜は嫌い。
Cherry blossoms reach full bloom within a week after they started blossoming, and all of them fall within another week. They're spring ephemerals, flowers that live a transient life in spring.
儚い命なんて嫌い。儚い美しさなんてわからない。
Cherry blossoms were beautiful for the reasons that they fell. I don't know who first said that phrase, but in my case, I agreed with her. It's the same for me. I like them when they're still on the trees. You just always say that way. Mean who wants to sweep up all these petals? Sounds like way too much work. She giggled and displayed a blooming
そ
smile.
うだね。本当にそう。だからね、スプリングエフェメラルが終わっても、夏になったらサマーエフェメラルが始まるんだよ。
I can sympathize with her over
変わ
that.
ったようで終わらないんだよ。変わったようでいて変わりはしないんだよ。ずっといつまでも永遠に私たちはここにある。
these same emotions I've felt we shared. It may have been what initially made us feel so drawn to one another.
名前教えてくれると嬉しいな。
Kokosaka yo.
ありがとう、ようくん。君と出会えて嬉しかった。また出会えるともっと嬉しい。私と遊びたくなったらいつでも言ってね。私は君と一緒にいるのが好きだから。きっといつまでも永遠に。私は君が好きだから。
After that, she left, without telling me either her grade or class, so I had no way to go see her myself. And as she approached me, it wasn't possible to see her again. From then on, I started paying careful attention to my surroundings whenever I was going home all by myself, thinking Yume might be there again somewhere, thinking she might be standing around somewhere, letting the cherry blossoms fall upon her. Even though I had told her my grade, she never came over to my class at school. If I wanted to see her, my only option was to aimlessly search for her. By the time all the cherry blossoms had fallen, the rainy season was upon us, I was still searching for her. Eventually my efforts came to fruition. Whenever I was lucky enough to spot her at the school gate or in town, I would then always hesitate to go up to her. As I was standing there, dawdling around, she would always come up to me. Acting all big sister-esque, she would invite me, saying, "Did you want me to play with you?" But I kept turning her down at first, treated her coldly the same way I did my other classmates. But I always continued searching for her again after that. I would eventually discover her by chance, dawdle around indecisively, have her approach me, then part again, like I was running away from her. I had no idea what to say to her, no idea who to be around. Our meetings and partings thus repeated for a while in that fashion. Still, ever so gradually, our conversations grew longer, and I started being able to act more casual around her. The amount of time I spent with her grew. After that, I had continued on for a while, and one day she led me to the lookout. That was the day she kissed me on the forehead. From then on, I would always make my way to the lookout after getting home after school and finishing up most of my housework. Of course, there were some days where I was just so eager to see her that I skipped going home altogether. Yume was always waiting there for me. We would spend our time together at the lookout until the sun dropped below the horizon. Just that 1 month, I experienced what it was like to play with a friend. That was it, without a doubt. That was the reason why my past self loved her so much. I'd loved her, Yume. If I'd even known it, I was an honest and docile boy around her. Sure, to the side of me, I only ever showed to my family. My encounters with Yume, the days I spent getting dragged around by her, eventually they came to an end. But after parting with Yume due to our sudden moving, I oddly enough found myself socializing with others instead of brushing them off. I had ended my habit of rejecting my peers. When people invited me out, I would go have fun with them, and likewise I would also often be the one to suggest things of my own accord. I hadn't stopped helping out with the housework. However, I had stopped treating anything other than my family with apathy. I was able to find interest in other things. I became able to hold feelings of affection and fondness towards other people, not my family. My eyes had been opened by none other than Yume. My world expanded. After all, she was the one who taught me to gaze up at the vastness of space above us. Tonight, as well, Hibarigazuki's starry sky, the sky I gazed at together with Yume, was bestowing us with its light.
今夜も星見に来たのね。
Mare is waiting for me at the lookout with that vast array of light to her back. I came by yesterday too, but I didn't see you anywhere.
そう、
Why didn't you come yesterday?
別に。
Something else to do?
別に。
That's so.
うん。
Place my elbows on the handrail next to the mare. Keep gazing for a while at those two sets of lights from the land and the sky.
どうかしたの？
How do you ask?
今夜のあなたはダメダメね。
How so?
ダメダメでバカバカな顔してるから。
Am I?
うん。
I am? So, do you think people are inherently alone?
え？
Didn't mean to limit it to just humans. Sorry. In your case, I guess I should say Grim Reapers. Do you think Grim Reapers are inherently alone?
死神は孤独になんてならないわ。
Right, you have your promises after all.
うん。
The lights of the moon, the stars of the town unfold before my eyes. After those lights seem so close to all those lights seem so close to one another, like they're snuggling up to one another, but in reality they're all so far apart. You have the distance between individual houses, between the stars, the cold and dark vastness of empty
人
space.
は孤独なの？
I wouldn't say we are. The appearance that we're so close together may just be an illusion.
どういうこと？
Whoops. But I still can't say we're truly alone. About how Yume and I were able to see each other again despite getting
の
separated.
ろけなの？
Yeah, exactly. I did come out of it with a broken heart, though, and that kinda sucks.
お
I loved Yume. She was the first friend I ever made, and I can't thank her enough for making me who I am today. So I tried telling her my feelings and confessing to her. But she rejected me. So here I am, still without a conclusion about whether that really was my first love, or whether I'm in love with her. Almost stupid when you consider the fact I confessed to her. It's strange. It was pain when she rejected me, but I found myself happy even without being called her boyfriend. She called me her best friend, and that made me honestly happy. Mir just quietly listens to my words. Say, Mir, what is this? Is it not love? This is some other different feeling.
知らないわ。
I nod. Sorry for making you listen to all this.
うん。だけど、夢って子があなたを振ったことは理解できる。私は夢って子と約束を交わしていたから、あなたに自分のことを忘れてもらいたいって。だから私はあなたを待っていた。長い間、展望台で待っていた。陽君の悪夢が彼女との思い出なのか、それは自信を持っていたわけじゃない。たとえそうだとして、陽君が彼女の何を忘れるのか知っていたわけじゃない。だけど私ができるのは悪夢を狩ることだけだから。だから私はあなたに鎌を突き刺した。
So that was it, huh?
うん。
Samir has already met Yume, and it would seem it was right after I moved away. After we got separated, Yume wished for me to forget about her. Despite the fact that we promised to reunite, in reality, however, Yume didn't want us to meet again. Is that so?
うん。
So I'd been rejected right from the start. These feelings that I'd sheltered over the course of 7 whole years had actually already been shattered 7 years ago. All makes sense now that I think about it. How she said she'd ban me from visiting her at any given opportunity. How she fervently tried to act as though we'd never met.
また悪夢狩ろうか。その気持ち取ろうか。失恋の痛みなくそうか。
No. Shake my head
いい
feebly.
の？
Yep.
どうして？
Just because.
辛そうなのに、
Still,
悲しそうなのに。
I may feel sad, yeah, but I still don't want to let go of my feelings.
よくわからない。
To be honest, I don't quite understand it
じゃ
either.
あどうすればいいの？私は陽君にどうすればいいの？
Want to do something for me?
別に
Gonna comfort me?
別に。
I stroke your head.
なんでそうなるの？
Stroking your head will cheer me up.
何それ？
That's just how it
本
is.
当に本当に元気になるの？
Yeah.
陽君、いつもの陽君に戻るの？
Yeah.
うんじゃあしていい。撫でてもいい。
Then stroke her head. I've done this more times than I can count now, but I guess Maya's still not used to it as she appears to be nervous. Her cheeks are slightly red.
元気出た？
I
い
guess.
つもの陽君になった。
I
じゃ
guess.
あもう
Can I hug you next?
どうして？
Maybe I'll cheer up even more.
いや、
I can?
うん。
I really want to, Mare.
絶対嫌。頭撫でられるよりも変な気持ちになるから。私、変になるから。だから、嫌。
That's unfortunate.
ようくんも経験してみればわかる。
What kind of feeling is it?
変な気持ち。
If it's a feeling I don't know yet, I guess I'd like to experience
だ
it.
ったら、
Mare ponders something for a brief second before
変
continuing.
な気持ちになれば、ようくん、辛くなくなる？私みたいに変な気持ちになって悲しいのもなくなる？
I'd have to see. However,
よう
maybe.
くんがバカバカだから。ようくんが私までバカバカにしたから。
Mare moves a little away from me and climbs up onto the handrail. She does it so lightly, it makes you think she's as light as a feather. She leans her tiny body towards me and whispers.
死神は本当はこんなことしないのに。
There's a sensation on my forehead. She has likely brought her lips towards my forehead and kissed me. The odd fucking coat with like this the fucking pelt around the hem. Not hem. Collar. It's like a white coat too. He's like walking around like a goddamn anime protagonist. It's almost like an episode out of my memories. But there's one thing that is starkly different this time. Not immature anymore. I'm no longer an innocent kid. I've experienced what an unrequited love is like. I can confidently say that I'm no longer some kid innocent to love. Just like how the girl before me, Mare, is different from Yume. I'm still the boy I was all those years ago, yet also not in a sense. Things appear to have changed, when in reality they're just the same. That isn't to say things don't ever change. So I should let my memories rest as they are. As what they are, memories. It's time to try and search for my current self's love.
Yume さんってほんと天文に詳しいよね。岡泉先輩に匹敵しますよね。星座の神話に関しても麻生さんと肩を並べるんじゃないでしょうか。ようちゃんをこっちの世界に引っ張り込んだだけあるね。
Well, she gave me the initial impetus for it, sure, but I think it's you who truly dragged me into the world of astronomy also.
テンクルに勧誘したのは皆星だしな。
そうだったら嬉しいかな。部活に恋に熱烈アタックでしたからね。恋のことはもう触れないでよ。
10 days have passed since Yume prohibited me from visiting her. During that period of time, also the others from the astronomy circle have gone and visited her several times. Seems they were able to hit it off without even the need for me to introduce them to each other. It is because Hisaki and Kosume's father is her assigned physician. On the other hand, I feel relieved knowing she's made friends, but on the other, I can't deny there's some feelings of loneliness swirling around inside me.
ようちゃんは一緒にお見舞い来ないの？
Didn't I tell you guys already?
よろしければ今日の放課後にでも。
Thanks, but I'll pass. Also, and Kosme exchanged glances, visibly troubled.
なんだよ小笠か。前は毎日お見舞いしてたじゃねえか。
Well, things happen.
夢って人と喧嘩でもしたのか？
Thankfully, it's not that.
急にどうしちゃったんだろう、ようちゃん。
Seeing how I kept visiting her and even didn't attend club for that purpose, I can understand why you also would be baffled.
ようちゃんのことゆめさんに聞いても教えてくれないし。小ヶ坂さん、私たちが踏み込むべきことじゃないと思いますけど。
Don't worry, if things ever do really go wrong, I'll come to you guys.
結 喧嘩だったら早く仲直りしてね。
I already said it's not that, but alright. With the chimes ring, everyone returns to their own desks. I direct my gaze out the window and absolutely wonder whether Yume is also looking outside right now. I've been thinking something lately.
何？
Always dressed like that, yeah?
悪いの？
Nah, not really. I was just wondering if you ever get cold.
死神は寒くなんてないわ。
How's that
そう
sound?
いうものなの。
Kinda
りょう
envious.
くんは寒いの？
A little, yeah, happens when winter comes. Come late November, snow can fall any time here in Kibarigasaki. We may get to see the very first snow very soon.
寒いのは嫌い？
I guess. But I don't hate winter.
どうして？
The stars are so incredibly bright during the winter time. The cold air is clean, resulting in a clear night sky that is just perfect for stargazing. The winter constellations, like Orion for example, are shining exceptionally
物
bright.
静かだった秋と比べて明るい星が多いのね。
Winter is the season with the highest number of visible first magnitude
あの
stars.
星なんてすごく明るい。真っ白に光ってる。
That's Canis Major Sirius. It's said to be the brightest star there is. Also, if you take Sirius, connected with Orion's Betelgeuse and Canis's Minor Procyon, you get the Winter Triangle.
子犬座ってどこ？
I see those two constellations right below Orion that look like their attendants waiting on him. Those are Canis Major and Canis
お
Minor.
供も
Servitude, basically.
私とカークみたいに？
The matter rests on your head a whole lot, so honestly, I'd say it might be the other way around. In addition to those, you also have Hariga forming a magnificent pentagon, and Jiminy's Castor and Pollux, which are known as the heavenly twin stars.
あそこの星2つともオレンジに見える。
Those would be Auriga's Capella and Taurus's Aldebaran. Both of them are first magnitude stars, and if you connect 6 of the first magnitude stars, you get the winter
本
hexagon.
当に冬の星空は明るいのね。
Can't pin down whether it is all or something else, whether it is all or something else in her voice. Apart from that, I note that her breath is white, despite her claim that she isn't cold. She gazes in wonder at the majesty of the night sky above her. My own eyes, however, are focused on her. When my visits with Yume have come to an end, I'm still keeping up my stargazing with Mare. A few days prior, Mare kissed me on the forehead. Neither me nor Mare have touched upon that matter at all. It has no bearing on the private stargazing sessions just the two of us are having. No, actually, I guess you can't quite say it's just the two of us. Huh?
何？
Mother just happens to come flying over to us and lands on Mare's head. He tiredly droops his head down and puts his wings to
今
rest.
何か言った？
Now that I think about it, Maruto's here gazing at the stars with us too. Mare wordlessly hugs him to her chest. She searches for a good place to sit down at and puts him down to rest on her lap.
カー君も星見が好きなのかな？
She gently pats his head. This is friggin' wholesome. Let me take another screenshot. Well, I'd say there's no other reason he's here at the lookout, if you ask me. Of course, it's because he wants to be with you too, Mare.
そうかな。
Of course.
うん。
She's directing somewhat of an anxious gaze at Muddo, who is giving his wings a rest. What's wrong? You're constantly calling him your servant and all that.
私のせいなのかな。
Her tone is low and weak.
私がしもべだなんて言ったから。
Something
カー
happened.
君、カー君、元気がない。
Mare keeps stroking his head over and over.
最近ほとんど飛ばなくなって、飛んでもすぐに戻ってきて、疲れたみたいに目を閉じて、眠いみたいに動くのを嫌がって、私のせいなのかな。私がしもべだなんて言ってたから。
But you mean that as friend, right?
うん
It's probably just the cold weather getting to him. Some animals go into hibernation and stuff during winter, right?
そうなの？
Yeah, Mado wants to
カー
hibernate.
君、眠りたいの？
Maybe, yeah.
私、どうすればいいの？
Hmm. There are also some small animals that end up dying if you let them go into hibernation. Their stamina doesn't last. I'd say keeping him warm is a better idea than letting him go to sleep.
そうすると、カー君元に戻る？
Sure, if you keep petting him and holding him like you are, he'll be all up to speed again once spring's here.
うん。
I'll make sure to drop by here sometime some to check on him.
ヨウ君、いつも来てるけど、
I'll come more often. You and Mado aren't here besides nighttime.
昼間はちょっと難しい。
Alright, then I'll be sure to stay as long as I can at nighttime.
うん。
Mirror staring straight at me. What's wrong?
彼女はいいの？
But
夢って子、お見舞いいいの？
oh, that. Well, I've stopped that for the moment.
そう。
Yep.
バカバカ、
Why'd you call me that,
な
Mirror?
んでも。
Don't you want me to stay stay away from Yume because you're promising
そ
all?
れでも、バカバカ、ヨウ君辛そうだから。
The Grim Reaper's eyes were that
どう
flawed.
いう意味？
I'm not suffering at all.
嘘つき、
That's the truth.
悲しいくせに。
Well, if you think so, cheer me up again. Like you did the other day.
うん。
Mir carefully lays Mado down next to her and positions herself in front of me. She looks at me, eyes upturned with a serious expression.
ちょっと目つむって。
She's doing it? Seriously?
早くしてったら、お姉さんの言うことが聞けないの？
I choose to do what she says and close my eyes skeptically.
まだ、目、開けないでね。
Oh. These words come from my immediate vicinity, thus throwing me into an inner disarray despite the fact she is a child. Maybe I'm nervous precisely because it is Mare. Is her plan to rape is her plan to rape my nightmare now? Or is she really going to clunk? Ow! What was that for? Heavy impact meets the ground on my head, making me fall on my backside.
元気出た？
Mare is facing away from me and gripping her scythe tightly. What did I do to deserve that,
知
Mare?
らない。
Well, sure, I'd get a kid. Nah, that would never come my way. Nope, not in a million years.
なんで2回言ってるの？
Stand up with weariness weighing me down. Mare heads back over to Muddle. Her face is bright red, but I wisely choose not to mention it. Upon dropping by the club room once school is over, I find Okayuzumi by himself.
おや、部活に来たのかい？
Yeah, I didn't come for a whole month, so I figure I'll make sure to come as much as possible now.
そう言ってもう1週間以上になるじゃないか。
I sit down at the desk in
ア
front
スホ
of
君
me.
たちはお見舞いに向かったと思うよ。
Yeah, they told me.
君は行かないのかい？
No.
立ち入るつもりはないけど、早く仲直りすることだね。
It's not like I had a fight with you,
ア
man.
スホ君たちはそう思ってるみたいだよ。いろいろ企んでるみたいだし。
Plotting what? Okayuzumi faces the notebook he has laid open on the desk again, studying for her upcoming entrance
いや、
exams.
卒論だよ。
Did he require you to write one in?
僕が自主的にやってるんだ。これでも部長だからね。
Well, sure, but I don't see what that has to do with a graduation thesis.
これはね、テンクルの卒論なんだ。この3年間活動していた集大成ってやつだ。
I find myself struck with
暇な
astonishment.
部長だって思うかい？
Of course
あり
not.
がとう。僕を慰めてくれるんだね。
Look, I really wasn't thinking.
謙遜しなくていいさ。
He has a distant look in his eyes.
だけどね、この僕がどんなに情けない部長だったとしても、部員のみんなはテンクルに誇りを持っていてほしいんだ。僕が卒業した後、広大の部員がテンクルに入部してよかったと思ってくれるなら、それに越す喜びはないんだ。だから 少しでもその役に立つならと考えて、天体観測の魅力を形にして残しておきたかったんだ。これはね、そういう意味の卒論なんだよ。
Tears are shining in the corner of his
めめ
eyes.
しい部長だって思うかい？
Of course
あ
not.
りがとう。僕を慰めてくれるんだね。
Look, I keep telling you.
それでも僕はこのひばり校でテンクルの部長を務められたことを
And I'm
誇りに思
proud
っているんだよ。
And I'm proud to have you as my president, Okaizumi. Pause the ring. Pause the ring. Jesus, fuck! Are you trying to give me a heart attack?
岡泉東堂参上だぜ。
Again.
やっぱたまんねえな、シャバの空気は。1ヶ月ぶりに満喫しねえとな。
I'll just assume that means you've been putting all your effort into that graduation
俺
thesis.
様はそんな首相じゃねえよ。ハルトに任せるさ。天文学の意義なんてテーマは。ちょうど今ハルトが必死にまとめてたのがそれなんだよ。卒論に感動したならあんたも手伝ってやることだな。
Significance of astronomy. What purpose does astronomy exist? I've done stargazing, looking up at the starry sky together with my friends, but I've never directly thought about astronomy itself. What would you say the significance of astronomy
意義
is?
なんてねえよ。
Well, that is
宇
blunt.
宙を研究して明日の生活に役立つか？俺様は時間と労力の無駄遣いとしか思えねえな。
Is that the facade you go with?
ああ、
Instincts ring with alarm and reactors kind of
別に
resides.
取って食わねえよ。文句があるならいいな。
I believe he means that. Well, I just don't think Okaizumi considers astronomy to be
俺
pointless.
様とハルトは違うんだがな。
I thought you said you were one in essence.
だから建前かよ。
Proud of Okaizumi as our president. That's not a facade or anything, but my genuine feelings.
よくもまあそんなセリフを恥ずかしげもなく言えるぜ。
He's a cock. He tells me the same thing.
例えばだ、物理学ってのは世界にどれだけわからないことがあるかを学ぶ学問だろ？
He starts off like that, languid.
じゃあ天文学はどうだと思う？
Looking at it that way, I'd say it's a field that reconfirms just how insignificant we humans are.
俺様もハルトもそうは考えてねえのさ。宇宙を研究するのはな、人が生きるためなんだよ。
That is hard to understand. That is a hard to understand statement. Is it going to be a case of, in a way, he is going to embody the two philosophies? Like, Todo is more like the sense in studying astronomy is in making sure your species survives, which is going to be the, say, Tengu philosophy of, you know, eliminating the astral deities before they can harm humans. Just like that, while actual Okaizumi is gonna be more of a, well, we're going out there to learn more about the world and like further our horizons and shit like that, which is more gonna be their side. As I said, it don't really make sense, does it?
人に限った話じゃねえか。天文学はこの星に住む全ての命が生きていくための学問なんだ。
I mean, in the sense of protecting Earth, like preventing huge meteors from crashing down and stuff.
そうじゃねえ。6500万年前に落ちた隕石は確かに恐竜を絶滅させた。だがな、いくら地球を隕石から守ったって地球そのものの寿命はどうにもならねえ。人類が他の惑星に移民できたとして宇宙そのものの寿命が終わってしまえばどうしようもできねえ。宇宙というのは時間と空間およびそこに含まれる物質とエネルギーは有限だ。その全てに寿命はある。時間や空間だって観測者である命がなければその形を成し得ねえ。だから宇宙も無限じゃねえ、有限だ。人類が滅ぶのはどうしたって避けようのねえ運命なのさ。
What Okizumi is talking about is such an extraordinary is of such an extraordinary scope. It is overwhelming me. So, what does that leave for the significance of
天
astronomy?
文学はな、全ての命は いずれ必ず滅ぶと教えてくれたんだよ。
Happ becomes speechless at this point. And Okaizumi goes on talking about it like it's
当たり
nothing.
前のことに何を驚いてるんだよ。人が死ぬのも動物が死ぬのも草木が死ぬのも決まってるんだ。そりゃ星だって宇宙だってそれでもみんな生きてるじゃねえか。死ぬって分かってても生きるしかねえじゃねえか。だから宇宙を研究するのは人が生きるためなんだ。俺様たちは生きる意味を知るために生きているんだからよ。
Mayor stroking Magpie's head. Just like you told her, she pets him, all the while hoping that he will quickly warm up and return back to usual. She fervently wishes for this cold winter to pass, for the warm spring to come. The winter starlight that outshines all other seasons illuminates Mayor's figure with Magpie. The Milky Way may be hazy unlike in summer, but its form is clear as it cuts through the winter triangle and runs down towards the horizon. Well, it's not possible to see where it goes beyond that from here in Hibarigaseki. The Milky Way is drawing a complete circle around the Earth. It's surrounding both Mare and Magpie as if safeguarding them.
く
She calls his name, but he shows little to no reaction. He's fallen asleep. She can tell that his body is cold from him resting on her lap. Even the Mare, who doesn't mind the winter's cold one bit, feels noticeably frigid.
かくお願い
Magpie's eyes are closed. Mare chooses to believe that it is not due to exhaustion, but because of the comforting sensation of his head being patted. After all, Mare knows herself how it feels. When Yo strokes her head, it's a comfortable sensation like anything else. So Mare does the same for Magpie. It just means to continue doing so until spring comes.
早く元気になって
Magpie moves his wings suddenly, which gets Mare's hopes up that he may have gotten better again. However, his reaction ultimately doesn't amount to anything more. He's still resting limply on Mare's lap. She realizes that he's growing weaker, rapidly so. Yesterday, more so than the day before, and today more so than yesterday. He has become emaciated. While she doesn't want to acknowledge the signs, she knows deep down that what awaits him is ultimately death. Magpie's warmth that will inevitably dissipate if its body heat is not preserved until spring is telling her
君
so.
にとってのカササギが
Sudden voice terribly frightens Mare as she is completely occupied by her own
いつか
anxiety.
現れますように君はいつの日かそのことを願ったんじゃないですか
The next thing Mare knows, a little girl that holds a scythe similar to her own is standing next to her.
だからその子が生まれたんだと思います
The girl only looks down on the dumbfounded Mare and Magpie who's resting on her
その
lap.
子の正体は私たちと同じです誰かと約束を結び絆をつないでそれを手繰り寄せることで初め人とは違った形で目覚めることができる人が光で目覚めるように私たち神と呼ばれる存在は願いや祈り契約といった光で目覚めることができるふるさとから生まれ落ちるんです
Even though Mare doesn't say anything, the girl explains it in a different
私
tone.
がどこかの星をふるさととするように君が娘星をふるさととするようにだからその子にもふるさとがあった地球というふるさとがあったんですあなたにとってのカササギがいつか現れますようにあ、嘘
That was what she had said when she reaped Yule's nightmare. When the Tanabata legend Yule told her about triggering a sense of When the Tanabata legend Yule told her about triggered a sense of longing within her. Felt that peculiar sense of nostalgia towards Orihime and Hikoboshi. In truth, Mare had not exactly wished for Yule to have his own magpies appear. After all, Yule must not reunite with Yume, Mare exchanged that promise with Yume so she could allow him. So those words were directed elsewhere. They were directed towards Mare herself.
だからそう。君は約束を交わしていた。大河君が姉のペンダントと約束を交わしたように、陽さんとユメさんが娘星と約束を交わしたように、君もこの星と約束を交わしていた。
So what you try to say is that fucking Magpie is the very spirit of the earth. What? Mare finally understands. The memories come to her. She has finally managed to reel in those memories she left back at her home. Those memories from so many years ago. What Mare felt was envy. Yo had a friend in the young Yume. So she too wanted a friend. Could be no greater wish for someone like her, someone who was all alone. She was separated from her mom, her dad, and her bratty little brother. Here on this planet, all she could do was gaze up at her family's light. So Mare realizes she mentions a bratty little brother. Is the fucking Mr. Fairy, quote unquote, that meets Yume gonna be her brother? So Mare realizes this is why she waited for Yo. This is why she waited so long with the promise she made with Yo as her support. He was the one who would rescue her from this agonizing loneliness. So she waited for him for 7 long years, firmly believing they would meet again. Yet, when they finally met again, he already had the girl, Yume, that was precious to him. He already had a different bond, which felt so unfair to Mare. Yo was her only bond, which was why she longed for it. She wanted a friend. She wanted to form a new bond. She wanted proof she wouldn't be alone, even without Yo.
私たちは星が見ている夢のような存在です。星は命を内包するから、その命にも私たちの姿が見える場合があるんです。そんな夢は約束が果たされれば帰ります。私たちは消えてしまいます。正確には消えませんが、人の目の届かないところで眠りにつきます。その子も同じなんですよ。その子はもう君との約束を果たしたから、だから君の前から消えようとしているんですよ。嘘ではありません。嘘だって私は友達が欲しい。友達にいなくなってほしくない。カー君にいなくなってほしくない。それでもその子は確かに約束を果たしたんです。その子は立派に役目を果たしたんです。君と陽さん、二人をつなぐカササギの架け橋を果たしたんですよ。
She was never conscious of it. The fact that she wanted her own magpies to appear. There's no doubt it was a wish that unconsciously spilled from her. However, that wish took the form of a promise and sent a bridge flying over to her. Mare had wished for a friend, influenced by how Yul was wishing to see Yume again, as well as her heart being moved by Yul's feelings. Mare too wished to meet a friend. She wished for a bond that transcended the bounds of a promise. For that, magpies became a bridge for her after becoming friends with her. A bridge bringing her to Yul.
君たちは大丈夫。君たち二人は約束を頼りに絆を得た。その子はそれを知ったから帰ろうとしているんです。だからもう眠らせてあげてください。いや、お願いです。これ以上その子を困らせないでください。いや、絶対嫌。カー君は私の友達だもの。ヨウ君と同じで私の友達だもの。違うんですよ。君はもうヨウさんを友達とは思っていないんです。だからその子は帰ろうとするんです。架け橋というのはそういうことなんです。君が望んだ約束を超えた絆というのはそういうことなんですよ。 からない。わからないよ。わかってください。絶対嫌。わからない。わかりたくない。カー君は私が助けるの。温めれば元気になるんだから。カー君気持ちよさそうなんだから。君の今の言葉、他の言葉に置き換えます。それは残酷な優しさというんです。
Magpie then takes off. Having waked but unbeknownst to her, Magpie gets up from his position on Mir's legs and soars high up into the starry skies in a display of his last remaining strength. The wintry white starlight to his back, he descends in front of
そう。
Ren.
いい子ですね。帰るんですね。私は一緒には行けませんけど、私もメアさんと同じですから。絆を得た人がいますから。それでも自分勝手な私を許してくれるなら案内をさせてください。私に君を送り返させてください。
Ren then raises her scythe. Stop, Mir screams. Okay, that was weirdly funny. Just whoops. In his final moments, Magpie looks at Mir one last time, gives off a cry. That never before heard cry of his sounds to her like he's saying thank you. Thank you for becoming my friend. Why is this game causing me depression?
お疲れ、レン。
タイガくん、ここに来てたんですね。
ああ、マヤカからの報告が終わったからな。
聖天宮の巫女はどうでしたか？
とりあえずは諏訪が追い払ったらしい。だがこれでマヤカと諏訪は聖天宮を追われるかもしれない。やばいようなら俺も全力で助けるさ。俺の力なんてたかが知れてるがな。
タイガくんには私がいます。タイガくんが助けるということは私も手助けするということ。それはとっても強力です。
ああ、期待してるぞ。
お任せください。鎌でポカポカ叩きます。
頼んだからな。
頭は撫でなくていいです。
そっちもいろいろあったんだろ。お前が気にすることはないからな。
気にはしていません。あの子はどのみち帰るつもりのようでしたから。私はその手助けをしただけ。良かったのか悪かったのかはわかりませんけど。
そうだな。マヤカの娘、久垣小雨のような例もある。悪役、辛かったろ。
そんなことはありません。娘星の子にしてやったりで。
そうか。
頭撫でなくていいですから。
お前、さっきメアって子に娘星がふるさとだと言っていたな。
はい。
本当にそれがあの子のふるさとなのか？
多分ですけど、私の思い出にあの子の家族が映っていますから。ですから、もしかしたら
銀河くらいは特定できるのかもしれない。だがそれでも星は無数にある。
分かっています。今のは忘れてください。銀河の半径は約1万光年から5万光年。その広さで私が他の精神を知っている方が奇跡的なんです。私は娘星の子と違って家族の思い出もないくらいですし。
俺たちはもう家族だろ。
タイガ君とはふるさとが違います。
I desperately need to arrange a new goddamn appointment at the barber shop.
同じだ。レンの星がどこかはわからない。だが、この星と同じ天の川銀河の生まれかもしれない。天の川銀河じゃなくても、天の川銀河のふるさとである乙女座超銀河団かもしれない。乙女座超銀河団じゃなくても、そのふるさとが宇宙であることは変わらない。だから、俺とレンは同じふるさとなんだよ。
それだと、すべての命が家族になってしまいます。
びっくりだな。
びっくりじゃないです。それじゃ、ただの気休めです。
うまい言葉が見つからないんだよ。
頭、撫でないでください。大河君、嫌いです。
人は全知全能じゃない。お前と比べても、俺はちっぽけな存在だ。だけど、少しはわかることもある。俺が生きている間は、お前のそばにいてやれることだ。
ダメです。死んでも、私のそばにいてください。
できるならな。
できてください。
わかったよ。
はい、新しい約束ですから。
それは、相当な覚悟がいる約束だな。
はい。だって、宇宙が終わっても一緒っていう、約束ですから。
I reach the lookout and make my way towards the place where Mare is always waiting for me. Spot her halfway there. She's sitting on the ground, blankly staring down at her empty hands. Mare? She doesn't look at me, or any words leave her mouth. Has she just not noticed me, or what? I address her one more time. Mare, what's wrong?
よくん、
Words come out, but her eyes are still in the same place.
私、
Her voice is somewhat hollow.
寒くなかったのに、死神は、寒くなんてないはずなのに、とても、寒いよ。一人は、寒いよ。寒くて、耐えられないよ。
As Mare closes her eyes, tears spill and flow down her
カー
cheeks.
君がいなくなった。私を置いて、いなくなった。私、一人になった。また、一人に戻った。嫌なのに。一人は嫌だったのに。
Can't see Mother anywhere. Both Mare's head and lap are empty. There's no trace of warmth
ず
there.
っと一人だったから。家族と離れて、一人だったから。だから、一人じゃなくなって、最初は戸惑って、だけど少しずつ慣れてきて、やっと友達になれたのに、友達を作れたのに、一人だった私でも友達を作れたのに。
Mother must have been a sort of emotional support to Mare, similar to how she claimed she was a Grim Reaper. And how she used a fake name. It was something irreplaceable to her.
なのに、友達になれたのに、カー君いなくなって、友達いなくなって、私一人になった。一人に戻った。寒いよ。寒くて。もう私、もう。
Don't say that, Mare. I crouched down in front of Mare and gently stroked her head. You aren't alone. I mean, don't you have me? I'm your friend. That's why I'm stroking your head, like I am now. See? Still feel cold now? Feels warm, doesn't it? So I hope this is enough to make you feel a little better,
出
me.
ない元気出ないよ
And how about this? I wrap my arms around her this time. Some more shoulders are trembling. How about now? Do you feel any warmer? Makes you feel a whole lot better, huh? Still not good?
うんまだダメまだ足りない変な気持ちになってもまだ悲しいって気持ちの方が大きい
Well, I guess we'll just have to keep going. I'll use my trump card this time. My ace in the hole. Same last resort you used on me before. This doesn't make you feel better than nothing, well. He really does have a fucking anime-ass jacket on. Also, I thought we were in Yume-Route. You confused me. Before me are a pair of cold, trembling lips. I bring my own lips closer to them and move in to kiss her. As I kiss her, I think about this girl. Just like Mado, her name is also one of her emotional supports. Mare S. Ephemeral. I suppose that S. Ephemeral must stand for spring ephemeral. Maybe the summer ephemeral. Short-lived summer life. A fleeting life during Tanabata. And even if that's the case, I don't dare let it end. I'll protect it. I will protect Mare. Mado may be gone. But Mare, I don't dare let you disappear. I won't let go of her. I want to lose her.
よくん
Remove my lips from hers. Mare's eyes blink rapidly. With each opening and closing motion, tears stream
今
out.
の
I kissed you,
おでこじゃなかった
right?
これもキス
Yeah. That was a real kiss.
を
Feel warmer now?
わからない
Well, do you feel better at
よ
least?
くわからないこの気持ちよくわからないだからよくんお願いもう一回して
Orihime and Higuboshi no longer stand on center stage. In their place are Sidious from Canis Major and Procyon from Canis Minor, twinkling together like a couple. Our second kiss is deeper than the first. We indulge in the sensation of each other for a long time, the warmth and body heat of one another. We have grasped affection, because she and I, the two of us, share a bond that we can see and feel. As to symbolize that, our two shadows cast by the starlight mix into one. As if to symbolize that, our two shadows cast by the sunlight mix into one.
あの青白い星が全点1の輝きを持つシリウス大犬座の一等星だよそしてその右上にある四辺形の星座がオリオン座オリオンは頑強な肉体と類まれな美しさを持っててね優れた狩人として有名だったんだけど最後は悲劇の死をオリオンの思い人だった最後は悲劇の死を遂げてしまう殺した相手は神が使わせた毒サソリとも言われているけどオリオンの思い人だった月の処女神アルテミスっていう伝説も残されている弓の名手だったアルテミスが太陽神アポロンに騙されちゃってオリオンの頭を射抜いちゃうんだよ
Yeah, could you at least translate it right? She clearly said Apollon, or Apollo, or Apollyon, which would be incorrect. Apollyon is something different. It certainly is fucking Zeus, though. Like, come on, translation team, get your fucking head out of your ass. It's not that difficult. Zeus is the sun god. What the? Who translated this? Hold on, let me just. Second project, what the fuck? Like, y'all's chill, y'all's nice, y'all's good. Y'all certainly fucking better than Manga Gamer for one. But what the fuck? Come on. It's at least like basic knowledge that Zeus is not a sun god.
嘆き悲しんだアルテミスは自分が天に帰る時にまた出会えるようにとオリオンを夜空の星にしたんだって。
Today is Friday, which means our Astro Circle stargazing session. We're all gathered around listening to Asa as she recites myths. Since the sun is setting quicker now, we've accordingly made our meetup time earlier. The weather is still just freezing cold though, so we can't stay on the rooftop for very long. As much as we may want to gaze at winter's beautiful array of stars and constellations, it isn't easy for us to do. Meh, on the other hand, probably isn't having too much trouble. Speaking of her, she isn't here. More often than not, she just waits for me to come to the lookout. Even though the both of us have become Astro Circle members, the private stargazing sessions we've been having ever since we met still continue on.
ようちゃん、
In the middle of packing up, Asa comes up to
ゆ
me.
めさんに会いたいって思わない？
She asks me uncomfortably. Well, sure I want to see her.
ゆめさんの方も小ヶ坂さんに会いたいみたいですよ。
Did you say
言っ
that?
てませんよ。
Thought so.
だけどね、ゆめさん、私たちがお見舞いしてる時に窓の外を見ることがあるんだよ。沈んだ感じで外を眺めることがあるんだよ。疲れたのかなって思って、そういう時は病室を出るようにしてたんだけど、ちょっと違う感じもしますよね。
Isn't that simply because she wants to go outside?
それともちょっと違う気がしますよ。おせっかい。
Just like I always said, I suppose there's also in Coulsum is meddling. However, it isn't like I don't recognize that things can't stay like that like they are forever either. There's no way I'm alright with being away from her. The problem still stands, I can't go see her of my own accord. She's yet to revoke her ban on me visiting her. Yume herself has to want to see me for has to want me to see her for anything to change. If she were to allow it, I'd go see her this second.
小雨ちゃんが言ったけど、私も言うよ。ゆめさんはようちゃんに会いたいって思ってるよ。
But she didn't say so, did she?
そうだけど、
Then I can't go see her.
ゆめさんの性格的に自分からはなかなか言い出せないんじゃないかな。
And neither will I.
どちらも頑固者。こうなる予感はしていましたけど。
They all heave heavy sighs.
だったら答えは簡単じゃないか。
Okazumi, who's been watching how things play out,
言葉が
says,
無理なら行動で示すしかない。やっぱりあれしかないんじゃないかな。
Looks like we're gonna have to do that, it seems, Okazumi says as he knocks his ass out with a baseball bat and proceeds to drag him to the hospital. Like, if he doesn't want to go to the hospital voluntarily, we'll just have to make sure he has a reason to go to the hospital.
そうですね。あれしかありません。恐るべきあれですか。ついにあれの封印を解く時が来てしまったようですね。
The heck are you guys talking about?
アスホ君たちが企んでいた作戦だよ。
So the truth finally comes
もちろ
out.
んユメ君の体調が第一だけどね。
Thus tonight I learn about the reckless plan Aso and the others have been plotting while they were visiting. On the way back from the stargazing session, I dropped by the lookout. Keep her waiting any, Mare? She's waiting for me at the usual place.
別に待ってない。
Should've just come to the rooftop with us if you were waiting, you know?
待ってないって言ったじゃない。
I really wanted you to come join us,
いや、
though. Really wanted to stargaze? What? Really wanted to stargaze with you?
ここでもできるじゃない。
So you prefer it when it's just you and me? I tried teasing her a little. At times like these, Mare gets angry and vehemently denies me.
別に。
But this time, she doesn't outright deny it. Of course, she doesn't affirm it either. Think back on our kiss from the previous night. Okay, why did I purposefully recall that?
ようくん、
Mare draws near me. I then stroke her head.
そうじゃなくて、
I figure that's what you're worth signaling from me for.
うん、
She appears emotionally anguished, as if her heart is aching.
そうじゃなくて、
What is
お
it?
見舞いのこと。ようくん、迷ってるのかなって。
Mare has her strokes of sharpness at times. Maybe it's just that some things show up way too easily on my
夢っ
face.
て子、大切な子なんでしょ。私がカー君を大切にしてたように、ようくんもその子が大切なんでしょ。だったら、迷う必要なんかない。友達とか、恋人とか、そんなのに縛られることない。私も死神に縛られることはもうないから。ようくんと同じで思い出を取り戻すことができたから。
That gets me thinking. Does she mean she's supporting me? If so, I guess I'll just have to accept it. Go along with the plot that with the plot of us and the others. With regards to that, I still haven't given them my answer. Told them I needed time to think about it. Thanks.
別に。
You want to visit Yume too, Mare? Well, if you ever do, just tell me and I can
バ
let
カ
you.
バカ。
It's neither a yes or no. You know that Mare and Yume have already met. However, I haven't heard from her about their concrete relationship. That is one of the things I figure I will learn with time. Upon arriving home, I find that Aoi and Suza have apparently already left. However, we appear to have a different guest.
こんばんは。
What was that?
お兄ちゃんお兄ちゃん、さっきちなみの部屋に妖精さんが遊びに来たからここに連れてきたんだよ。連れてこられてしまいました。
Excuse me. I hate the fucking game quartered off again. So only like a fucking quarter of the screen was visible. Just going out at full screen and going back in fixes it, at least.
みんなに紹介するって言ってたからね。こちらが一家に一台あると便利な妖精さんだよ。レンと申します。葵ちゃんたちは帰っちゃったから残念だけどまた今度だね。いえ、お構いなく。シノさん呼んでくるから妖精さん帰らないでね。いつもみたいに消えていなくなったりしないでね。
Chinimir rockets off towards Onshino's workroom at the speed of lightning. And here we are, just the two of us, me and Miss Fairy. So, are you afraid of Chinimi?
そのようなものです。
I guess you aren't a friend from school, huh?
はい。私はダメ人間フェチですから。
Okay.
それでは、私はそろそろ。
Wait, you're leaving?
はい。
Didn't Chinimi just tell you to stay right where you are?
私は、あまり人に姿を見られたくないんです。娘星のこと一緒にしないでください。
Who's she talking about? It's kinda late out, so I'll walk you home if you're gonna leave.
いえ、平気ですから。
It's dangerous to walk around on your own, so just let
お
me.
優しいんですね。
That's just a normal thing to do.
そんな風に言える君だから、私はちなみさんを見守る必要がなくなったのかもしれませんね。
What are you talking about?
くすくす。君が立ち入るには、まだ早い物語のことですよ。
She's very enigmatic.
それでは、帰ります。急がないと、あの人。妖精さん！シノさん呼んできたよ！レンちゃん。
Onshino shows up in the living room together with Chinami. The little girl, apparently named Ren, gets visibly agitated.
さよなら。待って、お願い。 少しお話しさせて。レンちゃん、私となかなか会ってくれないから。ちなみちゃんから妖精さんの話を聞いて、もしかしたらとは思っていたけど。あれ？二人って、もう知り合い？
So it would seem. And it looks like there's something going on between them, but that.
まだ気にしてるの？あれからもう20年近く経ってるのに。時間は関係ありません。レンちゃんのせいじゃないの。私のせいです。違うわ。違いません。レンちゃんは先輩に頼まれただけじゃない。きっかけはそうでした。だけど、君の姉の記憶を買ったのは、何もそれだけが理由じゃない。私は、君の姉に、大河君のことを見てもらいたかった。絆は一つじゃない。もう一つあるということを。だから、彼の頼みを聞き入れた。大河君に内緒で、二人が別れる手助けをした。卒業式の間近に、君の姉に、私は鎌を振るった。ひばり校を卒業した二人は、別れることになった。そうしたら、後で知った大河君は、とても辛そうにして、それだけじゃない。私のしたことは、君の家族まで。私たちは、幸せよ。小笠家家は、この形で幸せなのよ。だから、レンちゃんとこうしてまた会えて、よかった。今度、宗一郎先輩の喫茶店で、お茶でも飲みましょう。天文部のみんなも呼んで。
Ren's figure begins to fade. She directs a bow at Onshino at the end and then disappears completely. It's strikingly similar to how Mira leaves.
妖精さん、帰っちゃった。
Onshino, was that? Onshino takes a light breath.
そうね。いい機会かもしれないわね。
She puts on a gentle smile and turns to face me and
りょう
Chino.
ちゃんとちなみちゃんにはいつか話そうと思ってた。だけど、なかなか切り出せなかった。私も逃げていたのかしらね。
Onshino then begins to tell us her story. It is a story our generation is yet
姉
to
さん
know.
とセラ先輩のお話をしてあげるわね。
I know Kuragono is also a thing. Like, she's called Seta as well, but the main thing I think of when I hear Seta is just the fucking chairman. Fucking chairman Seta of the Dojo clan. No, you had the opposite school back then. The urban legend that is still being spread at high school, at Hibari High, originates from a real story of a boy and a girl. Love story between two people, a somewhat pushy girl that had a bit of a mischievous side to her, named Kokosaka Kasumi, and the man she fell in love with. That man was Chinomi's father, Seta Chihiro. 2 years after the summer break incident when she met Taiga, Kasumi graduated from middle school. Chihiro, who had been her classmate all throughout, also graduated alongside her. After the ceremony, Kasumi accepted the second button of his uniform from him. Following that, the two of them both enrolled at Hibari High, and there, Kasumi confessed to him, telling him she wanted him to go out with her. The second button of his uniform that she accepted was proof of her feelings. Chihiro naturally accepted Kasumi's confession. People had often joked that Seta Chihiro had the name of a girl, and oddly enough, his parents matched that. He had a slender figure like a woman's, and feminine looks to boot. Is that you? It fits the same description as the as Yume's fairy. So is there a chance for deceased people to become astral deities in the same sense that Mare and Ren are, instead of in the sense that Kasumi is? Not Kasumi. Kosame. Oh! Now, Kasumi had chosen Buddy High because she knew that was where Chihiro was going. So the two of them ended up as classmates at Buddy High as well. However, they were in different clubs. Chihiro joined the astronomy club, while Kasumi, on the other hand, joined the brass band. Kasumi had only visited her first planetarium back in middle school, and as such had no significant passion for this. Passion for the stars. Kasumi knew how good Chihiro was at piano, and thus assumed naturally that the brass band was where he would end up. She joined without asking him beforehand, which proved to be her mistake. A long story short, she had guessed wrong. Accordingly, she considered quitting the brass band to join the astronomy club, but Chihiro opposed that. With Kasumi in the brass band, he could casually swing by the music room. Someone like Chihiro, who also loved music, it worked out perfectly. In response to Kasumi's question as to why someone like him, who loved music so much, had joined the astronomy club, the answer he gave was short and sweet. Because I love looking at the stars in the sky too. Chihiro harbored feelings of envy towards the unchanging starry sky of Buddy Kasaki. He longed for that near eternalness that it had. The reasons behind that was his own ill fate. But it was only much later down the road that Kasumi learned of that. Only after Kasumi forgot about Chihiro and subsequently reunited with him after going through adverse fortune. The spring, during which Kasumi entered her second year, a new teacher came to Buddy High. The teacher was a man named Mishima Taiga. Due to his highly valued academic background in the field, he actually ended up advising the astronomy club. Despite that, he often found himself involved with Kasumi, who was in the brass band. Kasumi, of course, with him. She would often tell her younger sister Shino about his funny teacher who had a terrible case of social anxiety. According to her, he would often have trouble with lecturing when next thing he knew, a mysterious little girl appeared next to him and helped him out. It was during Kasumi and Chihiro's final year at Buddy High when Shino met that girl. Then it was during her first stargazing session in the astronomy club after she had become a brand new first year at Buddy High. At a glance, she looked like a Grim Reaper. Apparently she had the ability to reap those so-called contumacious existences from people using the huge scythe she always towed around with her. Mayaka, who was her senior in her club, taught her what those were, but back in the day she had trouble understanding it all. She also found herself not quite understanding what Ren was, but that was only a trifling problem. In the club, Ren was no more than a friend. It was a secret that only the astronomy club members knew about. The only exception being Chihiro's girlfriend, Kasumi. So naturally, Chihiro knew about Ren's mysterious powers. So knew exactly when Chihiro first started to think about doing what he did. Sadly, none of the other members were able to notice in time. Shino was no exception to that. Seeing the intimacy of the two of them shared, she truthfully felt a bit envious of them. What ultimately became of them was far from Shino's imagination. In earlier winter, when the snow began to fall, Chihiro suddenly broke up with Kasumi. Following that, he erased himself completely from Kasumi's memories.
ちょうどこの時期だったわね。セラ先輩に別れを告げられたって姉さんは私に話したの。姉さんは平然としてた。無理してるのが見え見えだったから余計辛そうに見えたわ。嫌われてもまた振り向かせてやるだけだって辛そうに笑って話していたの。姉さんはいつだって前向きだった。先輩のことを諦めるなんて考えは姉さんの中にはなかった。だからかもしれないわね。先輩はレンちゃんに頼んで姉さんの記憶を奪った。姉さんが諦めてくれるよう姉さんが守ろうとした恋をなかったことにしてしまった。そうやって先輩は姉さんと別れようとしたのよ。どうして
Shinumi muttered in a
どうして
daze.
そんなことするのお父さん。どうしてそんなことしたの
While Chino answers her
セ
gently.
ラ先輩はもうすぐ姉さんの前からいなくなるって 知っていたからよ。いなくなりたくないのにいなくなってしまう。だからその前に自分から姉さんに別れを告げた。姉さんから思い出を奪ってしまった。姉さんが悲しまないように、悲しい別れにならないように、幸せのまま恋を終わらせられるように。先輩は病気だったの。お医者様からはひばり校を卒業できればいい方だって言われていたくらい重い病気だったのよ。
That was why Chinami's father did what he did. That was why he wanted our mom to forget about him.
私は夢ってこと約束を交わしていたから、あなたに自分のことを忘れてもらいたいって彼女は言ったから、だから私はあなたを待っていた。長い間展望台で待っていた。陽くんの悪夢が彼女との思い出なのか、それは自信を持っていたわけじゃない。たとえそうだとして陽くんが彼女の何を忘れるのか知っていたわけじゃない。だけど私ができるのは悪夢を狩ることだけだから。だから私はあなたに鎌を突き刺した。先輩の願い通り、姉さんは先輩のことを忘れてしまった。だけどね、姉さんは思い出した。三島先生のおかげで思い出を取り戻した。三島先生が二人の架け橋になってくれた。姉さんは先輩との恋を守ることができたのよ。
Chinami is speechless. I can only wonder what her thoughts are on it are. I can only wonder what mine are too. What is that Onshino wants to convey to
姉
us?
さんと世良先輩、そして三島先生、それぞれしたことがいいか悪いかなんて私もわからない。だけどね、ようちゃんもちなみちゃんもこれだけは分かってほしいの。このお話に出てきた3人はみんな自分の思いに正直だった。迷っても後悔しても、たとえその行為が間違いだったとしても、みんな懸命に恋をした。幸せな恋を決して諦めなかったのよ。
Oh no, they're gonna break in. Oh lord. I'll take a quick break. I'll be right back. I have returned. It is already past lights out at time in the hospital. Accordingly, there are no lights on in this room. Old Tatsuyume sits in her bed gazing out the window. The sea is darkened by the black of the night sky. The motions of the waves create an audible sound. Just like the twinkling of the stars, it continues on and on repetitively. Yume feels envy towards them. There are circles which symbolize eternity. If I fall asleep, that will be the end. Maybe I won't open my eyes again. It's because of those fears which swirl around inside of her that she gazes down at the sea before going to bed. Should she then be able to open her eyes again come next morning, she will gratefully gaze down at the sea glittering in the morning sun. She will bid it a good morning while listening to the ebb and flow of the waves.
だから今はおやすみなさい。
She removes her gaze from the night sea and lies down in her bed. Since she's afraid of closing her eyes, she stares at the ceiling until she falls asleep naturally. Starlight that seeps into the room through the open curtains bedews the white ceiling with a pale light. There we go. The side table and thrift stand are dyed in the same color. Lately, Yume has been using her memories as a color source to add to the ever same monochrome world she has grown tired of seeing. Ever since she reunited with Yo, she has been reminiscing more frequently. During the spring of the new school year in elementary school, she learned that she would no longer be able to attend school. Up until then, her school life was already dotted with frequent absences. It had been like that for as long as she could remember. It had been almost a daily routine for her to get sick and have to leave school early. Such the amount of time she could spend in class together with everyone else was awfully scarce, making it difficult for her to fit in. She had nobody that she could call her friend, so her quitting school altogether might have honestly just been a matter of time. Yet she had always wanted to go to school. She loved being there in the time she was. She loved the fried bread that you'd get with one of the school lunches. While it was difficult for her to chat and laugh together with her classmates, to her, there was meaning in just being there together with them. She didn't want to quit school. She didn't want to be secluded just because she had a weaker constitution than normal people, just because she was different from others. She didn't want anything to disturb that daily life she had achieved. She wanted normality. All she wanted was to go to class and play with others, just like everyone else. However, her family was opposed to her further attending school. Since both her parents held jobs, they couldn't easily come to school in order to pick her up whenever she got a fever and collapsed in school. So they decided that having her grandmother homeschool her would be better and safer. They had already informed the school of that at the time. "You'll be fine," they told her. "You don't have to go to school to learn. You can learn and study at home just fine. And you'll have your grandmother teaching you too. Won't that be fun? So don't worry, Yume. You'll be just fine." In springtime of that year, it was thus decided that she would receive medical treatment at home from there on. That was the reason she made her way over to school one final time on that day. It was on that day that when she met him, Kokasaka Yo, since he was younger than her, she called him Yo. He never smiled, was crabby, and put distance between him and others. He was different from all the other kids Yume had seen in her class. And he also seemed to be different from Yume herself. He acted like being alone made no difference to him. Like he was freely choosing to be
桜っ
alone.
て好き？
None of your business.
私のこと邪魔だって思う？
I'm telling you what I think is none of your business.
そう、君は私にも関心がないんだね。
He was apathetic about everything there was. Even if that was only the result of a kid trying to act mature, it was frustrating to her. She was envious. Things would have been different if I were like him, she thought. Had she been able to remain apathetic about things, to have no interest in school, she wouldn't have had to feel as miserable. So an idea came to her. I just have to hate school then. I'll no longer be interested in school like I have. I'll get rid of these pained, sorrowful, regretful feelings. Instead, I'll hold on to interest in him and only him.
ありがとう、ようくん。君と出会えて嬉しかった。また出会えるともっと嬉しい。私と遊びたくなったらいつでも言ってね。私は君と一緒にいるのが好きだから。
She had become unable to attend school any longer, but she thought if she could become friends with him in exchange, she'd still be fine. She'd be able to smile. She wouldn't be alone. She would be able to stay right there. She wouldn't end up dying all alone.
きっといつまでも永遠に。私は君が好きだから。
From then on, Yume didn't stay put at home, but instead frequently went outside behind her parents' back. When she got back, her grandmother, who had been waiting for her at home, always seemed worried and cautioned her about going out again. But she never got upset with Yume and also kept it a secret from her parents. She kept going out into town and looked for Yo there. Finding him wasn't as difficult as one would imagine. By aiming for the time the elementary school let out and waiting at the school gate, she would often spot him making his way home by himself. And even when she missed him going home, she was always also able to run into him elsewhere. For one thing, the bounds within which an elementary school moved were limited, and above all, it seemed like he was also looking for her. The fact that he was doing that elated her. He, the boy who was apathetic about just everything, had found himself interested in her. Hold on. She was special to him. Whoops. That was why she firmly believed that they would be able to become friends. Even when they did meet, he wouldn't approach her of his own accord. It felt like he wasn't used to socializing. The same went for Yume herself. It took a considerable amount of courage for her to approach him. Even so, she managed to do it. The only thing she could think of that explained it was that just how she was special to him, he was special to her too. Yume herself acted mature around him quite a lot. There was also times when he told her she didn't have to force herself to act that way, but from Yume's perspective, he was the one trying to force himself to act mature. Even though she tried to teach him all sorts of things, being the older one, he was generally a lot more knowledgeable, which also led to frustration. However, she told herself that she at least got to be his big sister and put up with it. When she scolded him every once in a while, he would suddenly turn more docile and apologize. He probably wasn't used to getting scolded. That being the case, Yume simply couldn't really be angry with him. The two of them kept getting closer and closer like that. Eventually, she dragged him to the lookout. He was apathetic about school, and apparently that also went for this town itself, as he told her he hadn't been to the lookout before. That got Yume really excited, and she ended up running up the hill as she showed him there. After they looked up at the stars together, she kissed him on his forehead. Too embarrassed to be around him anymore, she took off, leaving him there. At the time, she ran as well. Thanks to all that running, she got a fever when she got back home and was stuck in bed for a short period of time. From then on, they became able to easily meet without having to search for one another. The lookout became their own private playground. Yume would wait until school was over for you and then have her grandmother drive her to the lookout. A small enough car was reasonably able to drive up the lookout to the lookout itself. While she gazed at the stars together with you, her grandmother would wait for her inside the car. It seemed like he never noticed that she was coming by car. She attributed it to the fact that in addition to there being hardly any light at all at the lookout, there were quite a lot of trees, making it hard to spot a car once the sun had set. Yume lied to him, telling him she was coming by foot, and apparently he believed her. The thing was, she didn't want him to know about her condition. She wanted him to treat her like a normal girl. After all, they were friends, and a relationship of that kind was defined as spending time together during your day-to-day life, even in a normal fashion. When he had moved away and that normality broke, Yume's everyday life changed as well. It isn't something she blamed on having played with Yo, but by the way, Yume's condition would get aggravated more often after that. Her parents got worried and had her undergo an extensive examination at the hospital of the neighboring town. After results of it came, they then recommended Yume stay in the hospital permanently. It won't get any better if we just keep treating her at home, they said. Need a more specialized and focused treatment. I mean, you want to get better faster too, don't you, Yume? Don't worry, you can still be schooled in the hospital, and you'll have your grandmother visiting you. Unfortunately, we won't be able to come along with you because of our jobs. We're sorry, Yume. We'll have you stay in a large hospital down in a big urban city, okay? That's for the best. Hearing her parents' words, Yume came to a more or less clear realization. Of course, she thought to herself. So it is what it means to be different. It means I can't be granted normality. It means I can't have a normal life. She had already vaguely grasped that from way before. That was why she never told you her address or phone number. Because there was no guarantee they would be able to meet again. Because there was no guarantee someone who wasn't normal, would still be alive by the time they would be able to meet again. So even when he asked her for her contact details, she would resolutely refuse to tell him. Oh, okay, that is actually quite an important detail. He did ask, but she refused to tell. And because it seems like he very much blames himself for it, but he's just fucking misremembering. Straight up. I don't know why my pants are being annoying. Anyways. That was her only option after all. When she left Ibarigazaki to town she was born and raised in, she didn't cry any tears. She had already cried all those earlier when Yo left. Ironically enough, the large hospital she was sent to for hospitalization was in the same urban city that Yo had moved to. Had you wanted to search for his address, she might have been able to find it. Had you wanted to see him, she might have been able to do so. However, she didn't even try. She knew coming into his life again would only bring problems for him. It would only make things painful for the both of them, knowing that separation might await them in the near future. So she came to the decision that only after she had recovered would she re-enter his life. After she had become normal. After separation was no longer what their future held. Only then would she find him. I am, at this point, convinced that she will not get better. Like, she will get well enough to, like, leave the hospital. But she won't recover. Like, it'll be a mirror of the situation with Chinami's dad and Kasumi. I'm, at this point, convinced it'll be the case. And I don't like it. Only then would you find him. I don't know if I already read that. During her long hospitalization, Yume continued studying. She didn't feel like attending the hospital school like her parents recommended to her, and instead was taught things by her grandmother, who was coming to visit her every day. Also, that once her body was cured and she reunited with Yo, she would be able to stand tall as the older one. That she would be able to teach Yo about the stars. Yo longed for the days she would meet Yo again. She prayed to the stars in the night sky. 7 years went by without a sign of her constitution getting better. Her grandmother then passed away and she returned to Ibarigasaki. She had nothing to do with Yo. It had nothing to do with Yo. She still couldn't see him. She came back because her doctors told her she didn't have very long left. And if she were to die soon, if her life was soon about to return to the stars above, she could only think of the sky she had once gazed up together with Yo, Ibarigasaki's starry sky, as the place to make that departure from. I think I messed up that. She became friends with Yo for the sole reason that she didn't want to die alone. And now she plans to die alone. Just why, she asks herself. Why is this what things are coming to now? On one hand, she wants to be with Yo. On the other, she feels that she mustn't.
お見舞い禁止にしたからね。
She can't help but wonder whether that was the right choice. Yume had never intended to see Yo again. Not yet. Still, when she happened to catch sight of him, here by chance here in Ibarigasaki, but she got a glimpse of what he looked like now, she was so happy that she almost broke into tears. She didn't talk to him, however, and left before he could approach her. When he almost caught her, she desperately ran away. Even though Yume didn't want to re-enter his life, it seemed he thought the opposite. Well, when he first came to visit her, she almost broke into tears again. She desperately held it back with all she could. She couldn't dare show herself like that before him. The older girl can't let the younger boy see herself in such a fragile state, or so she told herself. She mustn't show that she was happy to meet him
困
again.
らせたくないからね。
Memories should stay what they are. Memories. She has no intention of binding him to that childlike promise from the past that they made. A promise which says they will get married after they reunite. The time he has to embrace that kind of illusion, his time to relish in that dream will soon come to an end. Once it ends, it will become a nightmare. That time is more imminent than he
どう
thinks.
せならサクッといなくなりたいな。私が思い直す間もないくらいに。なら試してあげましょうか。
Mare just fucking shows up behind her like, oh, you want to try it then?
思い直す間もないくらいサクッと買ってあげましょうか。
Why hadn't she noticed? Since when has she been there? Next to her bed, there stands a little girl basking in the starlight shining in through the window.
誰？メア。名前を言うのは初めてね。え？あなたとは初めてじゃないけど、この姿で会うのは初めてだから。え、何？わからないならそれでいい。
Afflicted by confusion, Mir thinks. Who could this girl be? A regular visit at this hour doesn't make sense. The way she appeared very evidently isn't normal.
もしかして、死神さんとか？
The huge scythe of hers that reflects the starlight drives Yume to that conclusion. It is only after that when she realized that this girl who introduced herself as Mare looks quite a bit like her younger self.
そうよ。私は死神よ。
Hearing that affirmation, Yume's heart starts to pound heavily.
私の命、借りに来たの？
Like Yume asks, like, did you come here to take my life? Mare just, I will if you keep being a dumb bitch about the situation.
私は悪夢を狩る死神よ。だから、あなたの悪夢が命でない限りは、狩ることはできない。だけど、試してみる価値はあるかもしれない。試すの？
Grim Reaper's girl's huffy expression contorts.
やったら、ヨウくんに怒られるから。
She sounds like a child being scolded by their parent.
君、ヨウくんのお友達？それよりも、
She throws a glance towards the hospital room's door.
あなたが寝ていたら起こそうと思ったんだけど、もう起きてるなら問題ない。君は、ここは遠いから長居はできない。だから一言だけ。ヨウくんを悲しませたら鎌でざっくり刺すからね。
The girl is fading into the starlight. The moment Yume becomes startled by it, she disappears completely.
なんなのこれ。
I like how fucking Mayor basically just shows up. Listen up, listen up here, bitch. If you don't make my man sad, I will personally end your life. There was something peculiar about it, but the way she appeared and disappeared. It's the same way her tutor, Fairy, shows up and leaves. Yume remains in a daze until she's brought back to reality by a knock on her room's door. The nighttime hospital is empty. The parking lot, which can be seen from the gate, also has only a few cars parked there, which probably belongs to the nighttime staff. That's part of the reason why the fucking hospital I stayed at still had lights, because the fucking nurses still had the stuff to do in the night. But frankly, like, it didn't feel that much more deserted at night than it did during the day. Like, sure, it was a lot more quiet, but it didn't feel completely deserted. There was still hubbub going about. I say that like it was loud. No, of course they are being quiet out of consideration, but it's just a case of like you could just go outside and just have a casual chat with one of the nurses, which I quite frankly did quite a few times. Because I am a blabbermouth.
正面玄関には鍵がかかっていますから、そこから忍び込むことはできないんです。
We're about to commit a felony. It is a felony, isn't it? Like, breaking and entering is a felony as well, isn't it? A crime! There we fucking go! Let's not use the fancy term.
建物の裏側に通用口があるんだよね。はい。この時間に唯一病院に入ることができる扉です。
The ward that Yume is in has no entrance that can be used at night. The entrance for outpatients is also locked. So it's Central Ward's nighttime side entrance that has to be used in order to get Yume outside. The information comes from Misakaki and Kosume, who have insider knowledge about the place.
看護師の巡回時間もお父さんから聞き出したりしてチェック済みですよ。その巡回が一番手薄になるのがこの時間なんだよね。
Sunday night. It is well after lights out time at the hospital. We specifically waited for the time to arrive for carrying out our plan. We ultimately decided to go along with the reckless plan also until others came up with.
まやかさんからバイクも借りてきたし、あとはゆめさんが来るのを待つだけだね。
All the necessary arrangements are complete. Thanks to everyone's cooperation, the plan is proceeding smoothly. However, if this plan is to see success, it requires Yume's consent. If Yume doesn't want to see me, that's the end of the line.
来るよ、絶対。
Also is peering at my face from close range. I throw my head back in reaction to her close-up face. It's been a while since she last did
ゆめ
that.
さんはようちゃんに会いたいって思ってるんだから、ようちゃんと離れたくないって思ってるんだから。
Yeah, I believe that too. If Yume comes to me and she has a desire to see me, while it won't come through her words, it will be more than clear through her actions. And I think I'll be able to answer that when the time comes. I want to fulfill my wish. There's one thing I want to do first and foremost, should Yume and I meet again. Something I've known I ought to do all throughout these 7 years. I'll realize that
気温
tonight.
が下がってきましたね。
Looking up at the night sky, Kosume mutters. Even if Yume does want to see me, it all hinges on her condition. If it is too bad, it still means the plan can't be carried out. All I can do now is have faith. Believe that Yume will come along with her.
やってられないわね。なんで私が一番危険な橋を渡ってるのよ。
Izakaki, who had sneaked into the hospital, returns while grumbling.
私はこの計画に反対してたって言うのに。非常識だって言ってたもんね。
Like, yes, let's make the person who doesn't want to do this take the job that's the most dangerous.
なのに、なんで私がこの役なのよ。そこはそれ、適材適所ですから。かままちゃん、病院の地理に詳しいもんね。それだったら、小雨だって同じでしょ。いざという時の運動神経を考えてのことですから。看護師と鉢合わせたら退治でもしろっていうの
Izakaki. Izakaki's complaints didn't seem to have any end in sight, so I stop her. Here's Yume.
連れてきたわよ。ほら。
That's quite a lovely dress. She's standing slightly away from the rest of us. That's the first time I've seen her wearing normal clothes. I suppose it was specifically for when she has to go outside. Seeing her tells me the plan has proceeded smoothly. I'm relieved. Actually, so terribly relieved that I almost fall to my knees. All that is left now is doing my part.
ゆめさんが眠っていたら引き返すつもりだったんだけど、起きていてくれて助かったわ。うん。おかげで死神さんにも会えたしね。死神？メアって名乗った女の子だよ。
All of us are startled.
メアさんもいらしてたんですね。
I see. We told Mayor about the plan last night. Does this mean she got worried and came to check on things? Does this mean she came by to pay Yume a visit?
ようくん。
Yume steps forward and
どう
faces
かな、
me.
この服。変じゃないかな。この時間だとパジャマは寒いし、私服に着替えてきちゃったよ。
Sorry, I know we kind of caught you by
たった
surprise.
一着の私服なんだけどね。着るのも久しぶり。だから、おかしいところないかなって。
Not at all. You look like a normal girl.
女の子扱い。
Mean to praise her, and yet she gets
子
upset.
供扱い。
I didn't mean it like that.
普通っていうのは、嬉しいけどね。
She's smiling. The way I see, she doesn't seem to feel bad either.
私を、どうするの？
I'm taking you
ど
somewhere.
こに？
I have a certain place in mind.
誰かに見つかったら怒られるよ。
Don't worry, I'll step up and take the blame should that
お
happen.
願いね。
That's nothing.
夜に抜け出すの初めて、ドキドキしちゃった。特に、ナースステーションの前を見つからないように駆け抜ける時が一番楽しかったよ。
Well, this is something I already know, but Yume really falls into the same category as also a Jinami in terms of personality.
それに、後で抜け出したのがバレても、ヨウくんが代わりに怒られてくれるし。
I'd appreciate it if you at least put me in a positive
こ
light.
の人にさらわれましたって言うね。
I don't think she could possibly cast me in a more negative light than that.
ヨウちゃん、バイクのエンジンかけたよ。どうぞ。ヘルメットですよ。
二人乗りは多めに見るけど、スピード出しすぎないようにね。ただでさえポンコツバイクなんだから。
The scooter we are going to use is old looking and a little bit too small for two people to fit on. Yume? After putting one of the helmets on, it passes the other to Yume. Yume takes the helmet while clearly flabbergasted.
バイク、乗るの？
Yeah. There's also the option of using the train, but I want to avoid making Yume walk as much as possible.
私、乗ったことないよ。
That's okay. I have a license for scooters and mopeds, so I'll do the driving. Sorry that you'll have to sit on the rear. If you just hold on tight, though, I promise it won't be too scary. Say to quell her evident anxiety. That instant, she puffs up her cheeks.
私の方がお姉さんなのに。
He had the urge to laugh out loud upon hearing her say that, just like she used to in the past. Here, take this as well. He also handed her the jacket I was
これ
wearing.
何？
It'll get cold with the wind blowing on you, so put it on just in case.
いいよ。ヨウくんも寒いでしょ。
I'll be
ダ
fine.
メだよ。
Come on, Yume, just put it on already.
ダメだよ。私はお姉さんなんだから。
And I'm the guy, so you wear it. I say to her
今
emphatically.
キュンってなった。
Proves to be effective.
勝ったなんて思わないでね。
What kind of contest is this supposed to be? I hop on the scooter seat and feel the throbbing of the engine against me as I wait for Yume to put on my jacket.
戻ってきたら連絡ちょうだい。私たちは近くの喫茶店で時間潰してるから。
They are the criminals who are staying around the crime scene.
またユメさんを病室に連れて行かないといけませんからね。気をつけて行ってきてね。
Sure thing.
頑張ってね、ようちゃん。
Thanks, also. I really can't thank these meddlesome friends of mine enough. I feel weight being added to the bike behind me, which tells me that Yume is in the process of getting on. Huh? Why are you still not wearing the jacket?
ヨウくんには負けないから。
Are we still playing this game?
お姉さんが着せてあげるね。
Sure enough, she puts the jacket on me. Following that, she sits down on the back. I can only heave a sigh.
ちょっと狭い。
We'll reach our destination in no time, I
もう
promise.
ごちそう。
I'll scooch forward as much as I can. I'll create some space on the seat so you can just sit there. What's wrong?
それだとヨウくんにくっついちゃう。
I'll just have to put up with
嫌っ
it.
て意味じゃないけど。
She draws near me nervously. I feel a soft sensation touching my
ま
back.
だ落ちちゃいそう。
Just hold on somewhere and you'll be fine.
そんなこと言われても。
Yume gingerly put her arms around my
捕ま
body.
るとこ、ここしかないよ。
Keenly feel her body heat on my back. It is warm, hot even. Do you have a fever?
そうだよ。
She tightly clings on to me. of sensation
りょう
increases.
くんのせいだよ。ドキドキしてるんだよ。悔しいけど。
Rendered unable to say anything further, I get the scooter up and running. I turn the throttle and slowly start moving.
やっぱりジャケットいらなかったな。すごく暑くなったから。
It isn't that far until our destination, only about 2 train stations away. There being little traffic at this hour at night, I reckon it will take hardly any more time than using the train, even when driving at low speed. Since we don't get stopped by any traffic lights on the way, we are able to get all the way there without having to stop. With Yume behind me, I cross over the bridge to the waterway which draws the boundary line between Hibarigasaki and the neighboring town. Naturally, it is cold. The helmets don't cover our entire faces. Though, since I'm essentially serving as a windbreak, I suppose Yume is just fine. I can't talk with her while we're driving. However, Yume's arms are tightly holding on to me, so I can be at ease. My heart rate is at an increased level too. She's practically glued to me, and of course her chest is touching my back. Her breasts are pressed against me. I can tell how squished they are. While she has definitely grown. Though that only stands to reason. Neither of us are kids anymore. So naturally, it's perfectly normal for me to have forgotten the innocent wish I made back then. Likewise, it would only be strange if I had forgotten our promise to. It wouldn't be strange if I had forgotten our promise to. Well, it certainly wouldn't have been strange. I kept remembering it, even after growing up, because I didn't want to forget. Even though I, at one point, forgot something, I probably remembered it again. Past the railway crossing and drive up Yumemi Hill. This hill is the major reason why I chose not to go by train. I don't want her to exert herself too much. I'm already exhausting her enough just by having her go outside. If I tell her that, though, I'm sure she'll get huffy with me. She'll pout and tell me not to treat her like a child. I can practically picture it in my mind. Feeling that soft warmth on my back spurs me on to thinking about stroking her on the head like I do with Mare, but chances are she wouldn't take too kindly to that. We arrive in front of the fence, and I close the throttle, putting the scooter to a stop. As I turn off the engine, an air of silence falls upon us. Time to hop off, Yume, we're here. I turn around and say that to her. She still has her arms around me. Gotta get off too, so could you let go now? Yume?
何？
She lifts up her face at last. What's wrong? Feeling sick?
目つむってたから。
It's a big relief to hear that she still feels alright.
ついたの？
Almost. We can't use the scooter from here on.
バイク降りるの？
Yep. She's still clinging on to me. Yume? You're feeling sick, aren't you?
そうじゃないよ。そうじゃない。
Her body disappears from my back. Yume gets off the
勝ったな
scooter.
んて思わないでね。
What are you talking about? I take Yume's helmet from her and stow it away together with my own. Aren't you cold?
涼しくて気持ちいい。
She first takes a look around.
そうだと思った。ここに向かってるんだって目をつむってても感じてたよ。
The lookout is just ahead of this fence.
立ち入り禁止だけど入れるんだよね。
Yep, we just gotta circumvent it. Hold out my hand to her. The path's a little dangerous, so I don't want you getting hurt.
で、つなぐの？
Well, we don't have to if you don't want to. Yuma steps closer to me with her eyes facing downwards.
今だけだよ。お姉さん的に譲歩してあげてるんだよ。ようくんに案内を譲ってあげてるんだよ。
She softly takes my hand, saying that with a bashful smile on her face. I brush aside the branches that seem like they'll get in her way. Amidst the darkness, I push our way through the woods on a path you can hardly even call a track. Hand in hand, we go up to the path that leads to the lookout. Climb up the narrow, gently sloping path. Of course it is. There's no mistaking it. Desolate-looking bare trees, now without their leaves. Treetops swaying in the cold wind. The cold, damp soil we're treading on. This place hasn't changed one bit. The season may be different, but we both might be a lot older now, but this place is still the same. The place Yume and I used to play at together. As if I've been transported back to my childhood days. My memories and reality overlap. So of course, next to me I have her. She holds my hand as we walk. Time may have ticked forward, and we ourselves might have changed in many ways. Nevertheless, I fervently believe we will always have each other. Both then and now, and from here on out. Even if it won't be as a couple. I'm wholeheartedly convinced we will still be together.
変わらない。変わってないよ、ようくん。夏の星空も、この冬の星空も、変わらないくらい綺麗。幼い頃のまま、思い出の中のまま。私は変わったのに、おかしいね。羨ましいね。ひばりが崎の星空が羨ましいよ。ありがとう、ようくん。私、今日は忘れないよ。絶対に忘れない。過去の思い出と一緒に、ようくんと二人で遊んでいた思い出と一緒に、今日という日を大切にする。だから、ありがとう。思い出をありがとう。
Hold on. Aim with this never-changing starry sky above. We you stand below it still have to change. Still too early for you to thank me. Still haven't taught you about the stars. I want to tell you about them. Bring a smile to your face. That's the sole reason I learned about the stars in the first place. My body has grown and my hand is now closer to the stars than in the past. I've changed, Yume. I can make you smile more now than I could in the past. I can stargaze with you more than in the past. That's the wish I've kept inside my heart. I want to reunite with Yume. My younger self wrote that wish on a Tanabata wish card. That evening, wished upon a shooting star flying through the sky. All those events serve as guideposts leading to right here and now. I want to tell you about the stars, and I've come here with you to fulfill that wish. That is my reason for bringing you here tonight, Yume.
ようくん。
So, if you could please give me just a bit more of your time. Would you please listen to me as I recite the Tanabata legend? In the southern sky shines Orion, the eastern sky Gemini, and hanging at the zenith that Auriga Capella is a part of. Even though the Milky Way still flows through the sky, Orihime and Hikoboshi have long since left center stage. But still, they can be seen. There they are, on both banks, each engaging in their sacred calling while dreaming of their reunion. Once upon a time, on the shores of the Milky Way, there lived a beautiful heavenly maiden named Orihime, who was the daughter of the god of all the heavens. Orihime rigorously followed her father's orders and day after day diligently kept weaving, thus creating glittering, beautiful clothing. The god of the heavens was impressed by Orihime's fervor, but simultaneously felt sorry for his daughter, who hadn't even time to experience love despite her being a young maiden of marriable age. So one day he decided to marry her off to a cowherder by the name of Kingyu. Thereafter, Orihime and Kingyu began to live together and spent every day with happiness and joy.
めでたしめでたし。
Yume arbitrarily ends the story. Hold on.
私、七夕伝説くらい知ってるよ。私だってようくんに教えようと思って覚えたんだよ。
I still want you to listen, please, Yume.
ようくんの願いだから？
Yeah.
迷惑って言ったろ？
I'd be like, well, I did it one time while she actually didn't want to listen, so a couple more times won't make a difference anymore anyway, and keep reciting it every single time when I come visit you every day.
お見舞い来るの？
Yeah. Even after all that's happened, I still want to be with you. Yume doesn't tell me I'm prohibited from coming any longer.
男の子だね、ようくん。強引だね、ようくん。
I go on with the story. Orihime and Hikoboshi got married and were living a happy life as a couple. However, Orihime became too engrossed in her newfound married life and completely ceased weaving clothes, which should have been her sacred calling. For that, her father, who initially tolerated that, ascribing it to her and being newlyweds, gradually grew angry and ultimately took Orihime back, away from Kingyu's side. The god of the heavens made Orihime live at the shores of the Milky Way once again, and ordered her to weave. He then told her that if she were to return over a new leaf and approach her work with the same zeal she'd once had, he would allow her to see Kengyu just once a year on the night of the 7th day on the month of July.
めでたしめでたし。
Can you stop interrupting me and let me finish?
年に一度だけでも会えるならいいじゃない。私なんて何年も待ち続けてたのに。
For whom?
ようくんじゃないよ。うん、ようくんじゃない。
I'm still keeping that up.
何度でも言うよ。ようくんが負けるまで。
Since when is this a competition?
ようくんは男の子だけど、私はお姉さんだからだよ。
So can I go on?
うん。
Orihime, having been separated from her beloved Kengyu, thus grew motivated by the prospect of reunion once a year and started to diligently weave clothing after clothing again. Kengyu too took their promise of reunion to heart and assiduously immersed himself in his work as the two of them anticipated the 7th of July. However, when it rains on that day, the rainwater makes the water level of the Milky Way increase, thus rendering it impossible for Orihime to cross over to the other shore where Hikoboshi is. Standing on opposite shores of the Milky Way that separates them, the two of them deeply grieve over not being able to reunite. All they can do is gaze at the river surface as they weep. Separated by my moving, a promise of reunion in my heart, I indeed had been zealous. Learned many things about the stars. Wanted to teach Yume the Tanabata legend. She became friends with me and made a promise with me. So I, in turn, wanted to recite the Tanabata
雨が
legend
降
to
っ
her.
て天の川の水かさが増すと、悲しむ二人を見かねたカササギが飛んでくるんだよね。
Sure is. I'm flying as a flock. Then they each individually spread out their wings wide as can be, lining up to form a bridge, thus helping Orihime cross over to Kengyu's
今
side.
度こそめでたしめでたしだね。
Not quite. I shake my head.
終わりじゃないの？
Nope.
でも七夕伝説は
There's a continuation.
え？
Tanabata legend isn't over there just yet. The most common rendition of the Tanabata legend ends there, you're right. However, it actually has a continuation. Orihime and Hikoboshi had children. Having become a married couple, they were blessed with 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl. However, due to the god of the heavens' decree, Orihime was no longer able to stay by Hikoboshi's side. But accordingly, this meant she was torn apart from her children. The 2 children longed for their reunion with Orihime together with Hikoboshi. Tanabata isn't actually the day on which just Orihime and Hikoboshi's reunion awaits, but the day that they can become a family. A day for them to spend happy normal time together as family. Orihime, shining in the summer nighttime sky as Lyra's Vega, forms a triangle with 2 4th magnitude stars. 2 4th magnitude stars shine near Hikoboshi, Aquila's Altair, like they are nestling close to each other. These stars are called Vega's children's stars, also Kengyu's son and daughter stars.
そうなんだね。織姫と彦星には子供がいたんだね。家族がいたんだね。結婚して、そして家族になっていたんだね。
Her words are directed towards the stars above. Her affectionate eyes flood with starlight.
私、陽くんと離れ離れになってから考えたんだ。陽くんが引っ越す前日、七夕の日、織姫と彦星のように君とまた再会したいって言ったのは本当だけど、約束した通り陽くんと結婚して、陽くんが話した七夕伝説のように子供を作って家族になれたらなって子供心に思ったのは 本当だったけど、だけどね、私の願いはそうじゃなかったんだよ。私の体が良くなったら陽くんと結婚したい。だけど良くならなかったらそれはできない。陽くんには私のことを忘れてほしい。忘れて他の人と一緒になってほしい。その方が陽くんは困らないから。その方が陽くんはきっと幸せだから。それが私の願いだったんだよ。流れ星に祈った本当の願いだったんだよ。
Yume is able to maintain a smile. That moment her figure comes off to me as so fragile, so ephemeral.
私は治療を諦めているわけじゃなかった。だから都会の大きな病院に入院した。まるで陽くんを追いかけるように私は都会に移り住んだ。だけど陽くんと会うことはしなかった。私の体は治るかわからなかったから。そしてそれは今でも続いている。だからね、もうすぐいなくなるかもしれない私と陽くんは再会するべきじゃなかったんだよ。陽くんは私を忘れるべきだったんだよ。
You're wrong,
違
Yume.
わないよ。
Yes, you are, absolutely.
陽くん、まだ優等生じゃないんだね。陽くん、まだ無理しようとするんだね。背伸びしようとするんだね。過去の私は陽くんにお姉ちゃんって慕ってほしかった。甘えてほしいと思ってた。甘えて頼ってくれる陽くんが私にとっての優等生だった。幼いわがまま、お姉さん風を吹かせたかった過去の私。今考えても子供だなって思う。だけど私はそんな幼かった思いでも大切に守ることにした。私は陽くんに星を教えてあげられるように勉強した。もしもこの体が治るなら今度は私が星を教えてあげようって、本当のお姉さんになろうって。
Look, Yume, none of that matters. You being my big sis, being the other one, the smaller one, none of that stuff matters. It's like it doesn't matter what our relationship is, be it friends, lovers, or whatever. The same holds true for your illness. I want to be with you, Yume. That's all there is to it. I want to let my memories remain as they are, memories in search for my current self's love. The result of that search, sure enough, might lead to it being Yume. I don't know. It's precisely because I don't know that I can call these my honest, genuine
無理
feelings.
しなくていいんだよ。無理するのは私の役目なんだから。私の方がお姉さんなんだから。
Today is my birthday. 2nd of December, that's actually my birthday. That makes me closer to you age-wise than before. Are you still going to call me a kid in spite of that? Are you still going to act like my big sister? Look, Yume. You don't have to break your back. You don't have to be my big sister or anything like that. It's not what I want from you. I don't want you to push yourself.
陽くん、やっぱり君は変わってない。優等生じゃないんだね。変わらなきゃいけないのに。変わらない星空の下で私たちは変わらないではいられないのに。私たちは変わるからこそ変わらない星空が好きになれるのに。なのに君だけはそうやって変わろうとしないんだね。優等生のふりをし続けてしまうんだね。違うんだよ。それ違うんだよ。陽くんは変わってない。間違ったまま変わってない。だから最初から間違っているんだよ。間違っているからこんな風にすれ違っちゃうんだよ。 無理をしてるのは私じゃない。いつもヨウくんの方だったんだよ。昔から。今だって私も無理をしてたかもしれない。だけどヨウくんの方がずっと無理をしてたから。初めて出会った時からそうだったから、無理をしてる、強がってるんだって分かったんだよ。二人で一緒に遊びながら、ヨウくんから家族の話も聞いたから分かったんだよ。ヨウくんは頑張ってるんだって。全部一人で頑張るだけなんだって。誰にも頼らないで、頼ろうともしないで。頼ってもいいのに、頼ってもいいんだよ。私はお姉さんだから。子供の頃は背伸びだったかもしれないけど、今はあの頃よりはお姉さんをできると思うから。だからね、君は私に甘えてもいいんだよ。
What is the situation? What is going on? Why are our worlds reversed? Yume should be the one who has much harder. She should be the one truly suffering due to her illness.
君が言ったんだよ。病気なんか関係ない。相手が大変だからってそんなの関係ない。お母さんが大変だからって関係ない。妹さんが心配だからって関係ない。自分がしっかりしなくちゃとか関係ない。辛い時は辛いっていうの。甘えたい時は目いっぱい甘えるの。それが家族なんだから、友達なんだから、そばにいるってことなんだから。
I'm engulfed in a gentle embrace. I'm enveloped by Yume's warmth. She's bringing me into her warm bosom.
本当言うとね、私今夜もやっぱり会わないようにしようかなって思ってた。ヨウくんはもう友達がたくさんいるみたいだったから。無理してばかりいた昔のヨウくんは人と壁を作っていたけど、もうそんなことないんだって安心してたのに。ダメだぞ。我慢ばかりしてたらダメなんだぞ。そんなことするとお姉さんが怒っちゃうぞ。
Can't control myself. There are these uncontrollable emotions coming from places I don't know, and I find myself unable to hold back. Hey, Yume. Something's wrong with me. It's kind of like something's welling up. It's like everything feels all funny.
いいんだよ。それでいいんだよ。怖がらないで。変わってもいいんだよ。ヨウくんはずっと頑張って優等生になろうとしてたから。お母さんを助けて、家族を助けて、友達を作ろうとしないで、頼れる人を作ろうとしないで、自分一人でみんなを助けようとして、それは今でも続いていて、アスホさんを助けようとして、久垣さんを助けようとして、小雨さんを助けようとして、葵さんを助けようとして、ちなみさんを助けようとして、背伸びして私まで助けようとして。だからね、それはやっぱり優等生じゃないんだよ。だってその優等生は我慢ばっかりだったから。優等生のふりをしてるだけだったから。ヨウくんは無理してばっかりだったから。これまでずっと泣かなかったんだから。泣きたくても泣かなかったんだから。我慢して泣くことができなかったんだから。
Rapidly, trickle after trickle, something is falling down. White fragments of light pouring down from the starry sky. Like, I'll be quite honest. This doesn't feel as impactful as when Koikari started crying in Tsubama's route. Was Tsubame? Was it Tsubasa? I don't think it was Tsubasa. Hold on. Tsubaki. Neither. God, I'm bad with names. They land on my cheeks, and in the twinkle of an eye, dissolve into my tears. I've just never known. Never would have thought a person could cry this much. It's like a dam filled to the brim that has just broken down. The emotions I've been suppressing burst out audibly. With shaking shoulders, I sob and bawl like a child. It's a reflection of the amount of tears I've saved up until now.
頑張ったね、ようくん。
Like, I feel like part of the reason why it felt far more effective in Quick Cutty is just the fact that they didn't like feel the need to elaborate this eloquently, I guess, about it. It's just she tells him it's fine. He doesn't have to act tough anymore because there's an actual adult now he can open up to, and he just cries. And that's it. And that just hits way harder to just have that happen without like some expository text like a dam who's broken, who's fucking like, ah, yes, the starlight's twinkling in his tears. Like, come on. Getting that like overly eloquent about it is just gonna like loop it around to being kind of ridiculous. Sometimes silence is better. Silence beats talk. Maybe, like, just, like, maybe it would have been enough to just, like, get rid of the text box for, like, a few seconds and just add, like, slowly falling tears here without, like, mentioning anything. Like, I feel like that would have hit much harder. But that may just be me.
大変だったね、ようくん。辛かったよね、ようくん。もう泣いてもいいからね。我慢しなくていいからね。私が許すから。我慢しなくていいって私が許すから。
All this time I've kept bottling up my feelings, never leaning on anyone, never asking anyone for help. Eventually I forgot how to cry. When I had to leave Yume, I didn't cry either. When my brother died, I didn't cry either. Maybe I convinced myself that I did. Maybe I told myself that all the sorrow was gone now because I had let it all out. Maybe I believed I was over it, but I hadn't let out any real tears. Sorrow was still there all along. It hadn't disappeared. It all came back to the law of conservation of mass. I just hid all my emotions by putting a lid on them, making it so I wouldn't have to acknowledge them. I told myself I was a model student and kept running away from my true self.
私はようくんの恋人じゃないから唇にはできないけど、だけどここにはできるんだよ。
Yume kisses me on the forehead. It makes the third time. Back as a kid, I received one from the younger Yume, and also received one from Mare, who is the splitting image of the younger Yume. And tonight, the grown-up Yume has done it. It all comes full circle. My eyes are open. In reality, I was turning my back, averting them from the truth. I was brushing away the hands that were reaching out towards me. I once considered that taking them was as an option. I chose to forego all the opportunity I had to rely on others, the moments where I should have relied on others. So even though I had people around me, I was honestly by myself. Even when someone was calling me from the other bank, I kept on only waiting by myself. The Magpie Bridge was right there, right in front of me. Yet I remained unable to cross the Milky Way all this time in spite of that.
こんにちは、ゆめさん。学校帰りにお見舞いに来ましたよ。病院だから静かにお邪魔しまーす。挨拶がすでにうるさい。
大所帯で押しかけてごめんなさいね。
だけど病室にはなんとか入りきれそうだね。
So yeah, Yume. As you can see, I've brought everyone in the Astra Circle to come see you. Well, my dimwit sister is one of them, though. One of us, though. You'll have to excuse me, and Setsuna. We couldn't get in touch with them. To pretty much like the wind.
ありがとう。みんな、いらっしゃい。
Yume invites my friends inside. Last night we met up with the others in front of the hospital after that, and then had Hisakaki take Yume back to her room again.
誰にも見つかってないとは思うけど、もう二度とごめんだからね。
こももちゃん冷たいね。
危険な橋を渡らないならいいって意味よ。
何はともあれ、ゆうべはお疲れ様でした。お兄ちゃんとゆめさん、展望台に行ったんだよね。そう聞いてるけど。
そこで何をしたのかまでは現地にいなかった僕らは聞いていないね。
私たちも聞いてないよね。小ヶ坂さんが教えてくれないんです。
で、小ヶ坂くん、展望台で何したの？
Yume, how are you feeling?
言いたくないみたいね。
I will never ever tell anyone about last night. That is going to degrade with me.
ようくん、体調はいつも通りだよ。
She flashes me a cheery smile. Just can't help but feel embarrassed. Well, that is only reasonable considering what I did in front of her last night. But I don't regret what happened. I've decided I won't put on a tough act before Yume anymore. I won't push myself and bottle up all my emotions. I want to be able to lean on her when I need to. Though, yeah, it's still not an easy thing to do by any means. Just can't get up and change parts of my personality overnight. Though, of course, that doesn't mean I won't work at changing it. Basically, I need to grow up more.
私の体のことそんなに心配しなくていいからね。
Well, I made you go outside last night, and also I need to be sure.
もう甘えるのは私じゃなくてようくんの方なの。そう言ったでしょ。
There's hardly anything wrong with worrying about
ゆうべ
you.
のようくん素直で可愛かったのに。
No, don't say it, please! Just hurry up and forget about that!
忘れないよ。うん、絶対に忘れない。これからも大切に守っていく私の宝物だからね。
The most embarrassing moment of my life is a treasure. Great.
何があったのかますます気になるな。ようくんみんなに言ってないんだ。
You know, I can't just tell them about something like that.
言いづらいなら私が代弁してあげる。ようくんゆうべは私の胸で子供みたいに泣き。
Stop!
小ヶ坂くん、病院では静かにね。
ようくん恥ずかしがらなくてもいつでもお姉さんに甘えていいんだからね。
I strongly suspect she's going to keep teasing me with that for the foreseeable future.
お姉さんの胸いつでも貸してあげるからね。胸、お姉さんの胸に甘えていいからね。胸に甘える。お姉さんの胸に抱きついていいからね。胸に抱きつく？お姉さんの胸に顔をうずめていい。
Can we please get off the bosom stuff already? Cosme draws near me and whispers into my ear.
小ヶ坂さん、お外でなんて大胆ですね。
He's not gonna do it with a hospital-bound girl while outside at night. Come on, Kosama, have at least some kind of fucking faith in him. This is why I told her not to. Now we are here on red alert level misunderstandings.
胸、私泣けてる。
And also goes in an entirely different direction of misunderstanding things.
こがよ。
Why are you giving me that look of disgust? I did nothing objectionable, I swear to God.
では何をしてたんでしょう。
Just some stargazing.
そうだよ。 ようくんは普通に私の胸に甘えて抱きついて顔をうずめて泣いて、
Why do you need to go into such detail?
大人数だけあって騒がしくなるのはしょうがないのかな。
Any more of the hospital staff will be on us, so I decided to exercise some restraint. So, how did things go after that, Yume?
その後、
You safely got back to your room last night, right?
そうだよ。
Well, if you didn't get scolded or anything, it's all good.
怒られはしなかったけど、今朝久垣先生に言われたよ。お父さんに何をでしょう。
まさか。
仏の顔も3度までだって。
Yuzakaki presses a hand against her forehead while Kosume puts on a wry
夏に
smile.
抜け出してたので1回、今回抜け出してたので2回、次またやったら鬼になるって。
He totally knows everything!
行き帰りにナースステーションの前を通らないといけないのがネックだったのよね。
そーっと通り抜けたつもりだったんだけど。
宿直の看護師に見られたのかもしれないね。
お父さんのうちに眠る鬼が目覚めたら、私たちが束になっても沈められないと思いますよ。
What is with this fantasy novel setting?
ようくん、私の身代わりになってくれるんだよね。
Is she telling me to exterminate the demons for her or what? Looks like we'll need a more foolproof plan next time we try and sneak you out.
いいの。外出するのはもうおしまい。最後に展望台で星見ができたから満足だよ。
Yume is smiling. Her chest starts to hurt because Yume said one last time.
みんな、ありがとうね。これからもよろしくね。ようくんをよろしくお願いします。
Everyone is bewildered in reaction to Yume's formal attitude. The pain in my chest grows even worse. Please don't say things like that, Yume. Once you get better, you'll be able to stargaze whenever you want. So there's no way I can just accept her saying things like that. It's like she is leaving us her dying wishes on. If it is okay for me to lean on her, to really always bar her bosom, then Yume has to always be near me. After all, that is equivalent to a promise that she'd stay with me.
そうだね。そうなれたらいいね。
She flashes a feeble smile at me. Want to not only lean on her, but also protect her smile. Even if that makes her scold me not to push myself again. Outside the window, the sun is no longer anywhere to be seen. By now, all the others have left. I am the only one still in Yume's room.
ようくんは帰らないの？
Did you get tired, Yume?
聞いてるのは私だよ。
Now then, see yours after you answer mine.
疲れてはないけど。
Can I stay here for a bit longer
面会
then?
時間が終わるまで。
Yeah, if that's okay. Visiting hours end at 8. There's still some time left until then, but really not much.
ようくん、私に用でもあるのかな？
Yeah, something like that.
私、もうご飯の時間だよ。
A nurse just brought dinner. The tray is resting on the side table. That's fine. You go ahead and eat.
ようくんはどうするの？
I'll watch.
それ、落ち着かないよ。
Then I won't watch. I'll have my back turned
そ
to you.
れも落ち着かないよ。
Yeah, it makes a troubled expression.
ようくんの家も夕飯の時間じゃないの？
I called home and said I'd be back late
い
tonight.
つ？
I stepped out to go to the
携
restroom.
帯じゃないよね。
I know you're not allowed to use cell phones inside the hospital, so of course not. I used a payphone in the hallway.
なんで携帯が使用禁止か知ってる？
If I remember correctly, I think that's because the radio waves can interfere with electronics such as the hospital
う
equipment.
ん。それに、人の体にも。科学的根拠はまだ確立してないみたいだけど、現に体調悪くする人もいるからね。
I've never seen a person being affected like that, but I reckon Yume
ヨウ
must
くん
have.
がここで携帯使ったら私の寿命が縮んじゃうかも。
Surely she's just joking, but I can't laugh about it at all. I don't have the frame of mind to go along with morbid jokes like that involve her life. Yume puts a tray on her lap.
ヨウくん、病院食って食べたことある？
Nah,
食べて
never.
みる？
Yume picks up the tray and holds it out to me.
多分想像よりもまずくないよ。都会の病院に比べるとずっと美味しい。ひばりが崎はもともとご飯が美味しいからね。
Being the port town that it is, I believe it is especially famous for its seafood. Today's meal for Yume consists of seafood pilaf, salad, soup, and fruit. It isn't much in terms of portions, but it makes up for it with variety.
ヨウくん、お腹空いてるんじゃない？
Something that I hated was that when I was in a hospital stay, I would sleep during the day a lot. I would be basically active at night and sleep during the day. I don't know why, it just was that, like that. And in the mornings, after breakfast, and after the doctor came for the checkup, usually a nurse would come in and ask us what we would like. Basically ask us, hey, here's the courses for lunch and dinner, and next morning's breakfast. You have the choices between. You basically can choose between two for each. Which one would you like? And you know that's very lovely. That's extremely lovely. But the problem is that when I was asleep, they just fucking left. Like I told them that if I was asleep, they can just fucking wake me up for that. They did not a single time. Well, yeah, I won't
それ
lie.
じゃあどうぞ。
That's your dinner, though.
食べていいって言ってるのに。
But what about you? Are you not eating?
私はフルーツだけでいいよ。
That's not gonna cut it,
な
Yume.
んでだろ
You'll never get better if you don't eat
う。ヨ
properly.
ウくんが食べてくれたら元気になるよ。
No, you won't, and you know
お姉
that.
さんの言うことが聞けないの？
You get it.
昔は素直だったのにな。
Well, I've matured.
昨夜は素直だったのにな。
Stop! No more! Forget that! Yume giggles to herself and scoops up some soup with her spoon.
あーん。
She thrusts the spoon before me. I just said I wasn't eating.
お姉さんのご飯が食べられないの？
I want you to eat all of it, Yume. It does more good for you than me.
あんまり食欲なくて。もうそうじゃないってば。体調が悪いせいじゃないの。
Yume returns the spoon to
ヨ
the
ウく
soup
ん
bowl.
心配性だね。
She then relocates the tray to the
ひ
side
ばりが
table.
崎の病院食って美味しいからつい食べ過ぎちゃって体重が気になるんだ。だから今夜はいらないの。
How am I supposed to believe that coming from someone with such a slender body? When we embraced, it felt like her body could snap from just the slightest amount of force, and I'm positive that it is due to her illness. Hey, Yume. Just what illness is she afflicted
Nani?
with? I want to ask her, but can't bring myself to go on. Finding out won't let me do something about it anyway, and above all, I'm afraid of finding out. I can only wait for Yume to tell me of her own volition. Is your tutor coming?
どうだろう。日時を決めてるわけじゃないから。ヨウくんがいるから今夜は来ないかも。来てもヨウくんが会えるかはわからないけどね。
It's about 8 here in a few minutes. With that, visiting hours will end. Yume told me that at 9 it is lights out. Are you going to get ready for bed here in a bit?
そうだね。歯を磨いて窓の鍵かけてカーテン閉めて今日はお風呂の日じゃないからいいとして
Aren't taking baths every day?
2日に1回だよ。お風呂の日以外はタオルで体を拭くの。
I mean, that's the healthy part. At least when it comes to showers. Showering every day is actually not healthy for your skin. Fun fact. So I guess that means today's a towel day? And you're gonna do that?
これからすぐだよ。
Should I go ahead and leave
そ
them?
れと関係なしに面会時間ギリギリだよ。どうかした？
You
拭
may.
きたいの？
Where'd you get that?
私の体拭きたいなんて言ったらまたお見舞い禁止にするからね。
Hey, Yume. Since I'm unsure. I'm used to this sort of thing. I need courage to say it. You said a good deal on you, right? Yume tilts her head questioningly. You did,
う
didn't you?
ん、
Yume nods.
私そう言ったからね。
In that case,
また抱きしめてほしいの？
shake my head. Can I do something
りょう
else?
くんが私に拭くのはダメだよ。
I mean something else.
見るのもダメだよ。なんで無言なんだろ
Yume
う。
gets
りょう
stuffy.
くんが私に何かするのは
Why?
ダメだよ。私がりょうくんにしてあげないと。
Because I have to be the one to lean on you? Fine
何
then,
してほしいの？
I guess. Could you give me one? Yume casts her eyes
して
down.
ほしいの？
Yeah. Make an effort to collect myself. Make the situation come to nothing if I get embarrassed here. You may place her hand on the bed.
隣座ってくれる？
Sit down next to her. The bed springs creak. Our shoulders touch.
りょうくんちゃんと甘えられるようになったんだね。
When Yuma turns my face, I feel her breath on me. That is how close we are to each
それ
other.
じゃあ私は
Yuma draws her face even
私
closer.
はりょうくんのお姉さんになれたのかな。
Yuma's lips make for my forehead. Turns out to be a kiss on my forehead. Childish kiss. So I grasp Yuma's shoulders. The moment Yuma phases forward, I steal them. I steal Yuma's lips. It is only a light peck on her lips. Still, though, it is a kiss much deeper than one on the forehead. I feel like our connection has
り
deepened.
ょうくん謝らないの？
Nope.
どうして？
Well, I'll apologize if that upsets you.
怒ったよ。うん、怒った。
Can I kiss you one more time?
謝ってない。嘘つき。
Okay, fine. I apologize. Sorry, so yeah. Can I kiss you kiss you again? Then?
それおかしいよ。
Pulled her towards me. Takes almost no force at all since she's light as a feather. And that in turn pains my chest. As I wrap her up inside my arms, Yuma's body trembles with a jolt.
ダメだよ。これじゃあ逆だよ。りょうくんのお姉さんになれないよ。
While holding her in my arms, I lightly push her down on the bed. Don't, buddy.
りょうくん。
Buddy, she's sick. I just, I say that, but at the same time, you can't exactly just go up to Izakaki's dad and be like, "Hey, Dr. Izakaki, it's just a question. How well is Yume today? Well, she's physically, it's not really that different from normal. Is she well enough for intercourse? I'm banning you from this hospital." Yume looks up at me with trembling
ダメ
eyes.
だよ、りょうくん。
Well, I still want to.
言うこと聞いてくれないの？
Yep, I am.
悪ったね。
Yeah. I absolutely won't do anything you don't want.
私嫌がってるように見えない？
Yeah.
どう見える？
You look like you're trying to act like my big sister again. You don't have to force yourself to act that way, Yume. You told me you'd like me to lean on you. And I'll do so when I want. But I also want to protect you. I'm gonna kiss you now, Yume. Draw my face close to
生
hers.
意気だね。
He smiles bashfully right before my
りょう
eyes.
くんは悪な男の子だね。
She then quietly closes her eyes. Her lips meet hers. It is only a light touching kiss. Next I insert my tongue into her mouth in order for us to connect more. God! Yuma's shoulders tremble with a jolt. Come on, gradually as I continue to enjoy my time, it also starts to move hers. Body! I release her lips. Silvery thread of saliva between us slowly snaps.
すごいキスだね。
Did you get
って
exhausted?
いうか浮いちゃった感じ。
How's your body holding up?
ドキドキするけど平気。
Can I kiss you one more time?
ダメ。
You didn't like it?
そうじゃなくて面会時間。
I look up at the clock and find it's already
時
past 8.
間切れだよ。
Nothing wrong with going a little bit
あ
over.
るあるだね。
I'm gonna keep going
人
now.
来るかもしれないよ。
Don't all the doctors and nurses knock though?
するけど
I'll just jump under your bed or something if that happens.
浮気の相手みたいだね。
I'd actually rather just take you away in my arms and run off
誰から？
from this hospital.
あるあるだね。
Dumbhead or Rascal head, which is supposed to be worse? Well, I guess either way, it isn't something you want to be called. Extend my arms and grasp Yume's pajamas. Yume jumps.
何？
She anxiously looks down at the fingers trying to undo her pajama buttons. Didn't I just say I was gonna go on?
キスだよね。
Yeah,
なんで脱がそうとするの？
so I can kiss you, of course.
どこに？
Your body.
私のどこに？
Everything. Like, which part of her body? Yes. Every inch. Yume's face flushes red.
よくエロエロだね。
I can go on, yeah? Undo your pajama buttons.
ダメ。
Let me just, I don't trust this game. Not one bit. I'm also just, better safe than sorry and all that. Yume holds down her almost undone pajamas with her arm. Aren't you alright with it?
そんなこと言ってない。
You don't want me to? Yume directs her bright red face downward.
私体拭いてない。
No shame in that.
汗っぽいよ。
All fine by me.
私普通じゃないよ。他の女の子と違うんだよ。
None of that matters to me. You're the only one for me, Yume. This passion of mine is only directed towards the girl in front of me. Any lines that were covered? No. I was lucky. Yume is the only one who can be the recipient of this love. Yume's life is my life, which is why this passionate love is urging me forward. It is forcing me to pursue my affections in earnest.
バカだね、よくん。
You wouldn't be the first one to call me that. Mayor harps on about me being a dumb practically all the
きっと
time.
後悔するよ。
I regretted more of it back out here.
エロエロだね。
I don't mean it like that.
でもそういうことをしたいんでしょ？
Right, it's being covered. True enough.
私を抱いたらようくんは後悔する。たとえようくんが否定してもわかるんだ。ようくんは絶対に後悔するんだよ。それでもいいの？
Yeah. I've gathered my resolve and can thus nod to that
本
question.
当に？
Of course. Even if by some chance I come to regret it later, I'll still have gained an experience far greater. I love you, Yume, and nothing could bring me more joy than sleeping with you.
エロエロだね。
Well, I am basically talking about how I want to have sex with you, so I'll accept that. Yume puts down the arm she's been holding down her
こ
pajamas
れ
with.
も甘えてくれてるってことなのかな。
See to undo the remaining
だったら
buttons.
私も嬉しいかな。
So, having received her consent, I carried on. Dot 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 dot, and then she fucking died from exhaustion. Visiting hours are over. We fix our clothes into sheets and rest shoulder to shoulder in silence for a while. And then we each realize we are kind of hungry and we eat the hospital meal together. Yume was right when she said the meals here were good. Since it was technically for her, I want to pass on it, but she forcibly pushes it inside my mouth. I can just do this now. We are safe again, I assume. I hope and fucking pray we are. I mean, nothing ever happened in that CG. I didn't have to censor it. You know, I'm just paranoid. Since it is technically for her... Oh, hold on, I read that. About the time we are done eating, someone comes to collect the tableware, which I promptly get under the bed and hide. Get covered in dust as a result. And then Yume sees me, and when Yume sees me, she has a nice laugh. She really isn't enjoying herself. She seems genuinely happy. So I want her to keep laughing joyfully like that. I want her to be happy and smile. At least those feelings haven't changed since my childhood. The clock hits 9, meaning it's time for lights out. We turn the lights in the room off and snuggle up into Yume's bed together. The dazzling starry sky of winter is on full display outside the window, so we are able to do a little stargazing while culting
これ
together.
でよかったの？
As long as you're fine with me, sleeping over is no problem for
家
me.
には？
Yeah, back when I called home at the public telephone, I said there was a possibility that I'd be sleeping over at a friend's place.
用意周到だね。
Yep, that's my
明
motto.
日の学校は？
I'll just skip.
悪々だね。
Did I manage to become your model student, Yume?
全然ダメダメ。
Yume laughed slightly.
赤点だよ。
I got a sudden urge to feel her warmth and comb the hair next to me.
こら、いたずらするのダメだぞ。
I'll stop if you don't want it.
嫌じゃないけど、生意気だぞ。
Her silky hair feels real pleasant as it passes through my fingers like streaming
なんだ
water.
かおかしいね。こんなこと想像もできなかった。病室のベッドで陽くんと一緒だなんて、本当はもっと
After a short
もっ
pause,
としっかりしなきゃなのに、陽くんをもっと受け止めてあげられたらよかったのに、温め合えたらよかったのに、凍った心を溶かしてあげられたらよかったのに。
I feel more than warm enough, Yume. After all, we were staying here like this together. I'm warmed up to such a degree that the winter cold escapes from me. Yume doesn't speak anymore. Veiled in the light, the starlight shares with us. We fall asleep. The next morning, the fucking nurses come for the check-in, and they just see them lying there, and then fucking issues are happening. When I wake up, the warmth that was in my arm has disappeared. After fumbling around and finding nothing, I sit up. Look around and quickly find her. Yume is standing at the window. Seems like she was gazing outside, just like I've seen her do on each of my visits. Something like a daily routine to her. Since the window is on the west side, the sun isn't just to be seen, but the surface of the sea that extends a little bit from there is sparkling. The sun isn't to be seen. Oh. Come evening, the room will become filled with red light. Our eyes meet as Yume turns around. Can't clearly make out her expression since the light covering the window at her back casts a shadow. But it looks like she was wearing an embarrassed smile.
危なかったな。危なかった。危機一髪だね。
What
さ
exactly?
っきね、タオルで体拭いてたの。
He says
陽くん
embarrassed.
が寝てる間に済ませようかなって。
So in other words, she had taken off her pajamas right next to
昨
me.
夜は陽くんのせいでできなかったからね。
It's my fault.
何か違う？
Nah, she wasn't. But what need is there to be shy about me seeing her body now? Yume
デリ
blushes.
カシーの欠如だね。
I'm just kidding.
陽くん、子供の頃と同じで女の子に疎いままだね。
Look, I said it was a joke.
昔の思い出、またなかったことにしようかな。
I'm sorry, Yume. Yume not satisfied.
そうだ、挨拶忘れちゃった。ようくん、おはよう。
Morning.
ちょっと変な感じだね。こんな風に挨拶するのも想像してなかったから。
She appears happy as she says that. What's the
7
time?
時半だよ。
Jeez, late. I slept in much later than I ever have.
いつも何時に起きてるの？
6?
結構早起きなんだね。
Well, I have to make breakfast and all
り
that.
ょうくんが作ってるの？
Well, only 'cause there's nobody else to do it.
ちなみさんは？
See, when that girl attempts to cook all the ingredients undergoes some unholy chemical change and turn into dark matter.
相変わらずなんだね。お母さんの家事、今でも手伝ってるんだね。
Yuma knows about my family situation, well, since I've told her back when we were kids. But I haven't yet told her about my mom's death.
ちなみにね、6時に検温があったんだよ。
The nurse was
う
here.
んうん。ようくん寝てたし、私から測りに行ったから。
Looks like I haven't been found out yet. I didn't hear a knock on the door.
多分朝ごはんだ。そろそろだと思ってたから。
I guess I'd better go ahead and
う
hide.
ん。ごめんね。
No, it's my own fault to begin with. I immediately slip out of the bed. I have a bad feeling about this. After a short exchange consisting of a few words, I hear the sound of the door being shut. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to end it here. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to finish it since I'm already talking this out almost 4 hours already, and it is 1:30 1 a.m. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next one. Bye.